virtually every one of the top 40 records being played on every radio station in the United States is a communication to the children to take a trip, to cop out, to groove. The psychedelic jackets on the record albums have their own.
This is a special question. We don't want you to smoke genetically modified ganja. We want you to smoke the real thing.
Me?
We want you to smoke the natural herb.
Sweet.
Some call it marijuana.
Sweet.
Some call it sesame.
Sweet.
Some call it lamb's bread.
The tea.
And some people call it...
Welcome to another edition of the Adam Dunn Show. I'm your host, Adam Dunn.
I'm Dave Charnick.
I'm Tim McCormick.
That's co-host, by the way.
How you doing?
You got to say co-host.
Oh, co-host.
Yeah,
co-host.
say
Co-host, Tim McCormick.
Yeah, serial co-host. Yeah, there you go.
Well, wait, doesn't the glasses get a credit, right?
Oh, yeah. Tim McCormick with glasses.
With the glasses.
Tim McCormick with glasses, and we are on the other side. We're in the coffee shop, guys. I know you can't tell the difference, but we are in the coffee shop side. That's why the sound might be a little bit different. We're going to tighten it all up as the time
I
progresses.
mean, we won't have the echo that we have?
No, it sounds.
Gosh, it sounds fine. I just said might sound a little different. That's all the difference. Jesus. All right. Jesus.
Praise Jesus.
So we have, as promised, Tim back in the house to cause some trouble.
Hey.
He's on trouble. He's on a tear these days. And then we've also got Brandon Manger.
Yep.
No,
Manger.
Manger.
Whoever that is, I got a bunch of people wrote to me online. They're like, Brandon,
Oh, I know. I know.
He's cool. He's one of the coolest guys I know.
Everybody who, I just had the same thing too. I was like, oh, I guess this Brandon guy's pretty cool because so far everybody's been like, yes.
He's famalicious.
Oh, yeah. He's famalicious.
Famalicious.
He's crushing in South
he's the
Dakota
most
right now.
famous guy in South Dakota. How's that? I'll give him that.
He sure is.
Wait, where?
South Dakota. Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of competition.
Yeah.
Odie doesn't even go to South Dakota. I mean, jeez.
No, this is Brandon's territory. He's crushing out there. They got greenhouses. They're doing 400 plants outdoors this year. Like, they got some serious show going on there.
They got a lot of catching up to do. Mm-hmm. You know,
Yep.
so they've been behind. They've been a little behind.
He was telling me they do hemp seed, and then they do cannabis flower. So like this is the first part of like their cannabis flower initiative in South Dakota because normally it's just hemp. And so, but that's on the west side, and I guess he's on the east side. Or I might have this different. He'll explain once he gets on.
Well, sweet.
Yeah, we don't want to get all geographical around here. We fuck it all up. But in general, yeah, they've definitely, I think it's kind of like how Oklahoma was too. Oklahoma had that like, we got to catch up mentality, and I think they did very good at that. Almost too good.
Too good.
A little too good.
Yeah.
But and also because these are ag places, right? So people are very attuned to acres as opposed to meters. You know what I mean? When you start talking square meters, like not so exciting. We start talking acres, and that's
like why it was great when we went to Kentucky in 2016, to help them develop hemp farms because you didn't have to teach them how to be growers. They knew exactly what they were doing. It was just changing crops, Right. We grow beans in the summer and corn, and then we grow tobacco. And I'm like, all right, take us to the tobacco. Wherever the tobacco is, you can grow cannabis there. Okay, I'm pretty sure. And sure enough, they wound up converting massive acreage.
Yeah, I bet.
But so Tim, you wrote to me and you said, I got something super secret. I'm like, I was expecting you to show up with like showgirls or something like that, but you just walked in all by yourself. What's this?
I got my glasses too.
All right.
Yeah,
I'm the one that beats jokes to
I'm
death.
pretty sure the glasses came with, and you followed is what happened.
Look at Vinny
first.
coming out hot, man.
He's
turning the mic around.
Put your face in the mic, biatch.
Yeah, when you.
Yeah, we need a podcast.
When we talk, we actually have to have.
You got to make.
Well, if you talk into the mics, then it cuts down on the room noise, and we can.
You got it.
A little bit.
Exactly.
That's what's happening.
There you go. You got to get.
Okay, all right. But now we
tight.
broke the fourth wall.
Tight on the mic.
Blow the show.
Tight on the mic.
Tight. Like you're eating the corn on the cob outside.
I do the corn in the cup.
Corn in the cup.
See, you can't be that loud right now.
Yeah, guys.
Now it's really loud.
Come on, dudes. Yeah. Be a little professional.
Yeah.
Keep it professional. So we definitely knew you had some secret stuff.
Yeah. No. We
don't want to kill it all right out of the gate though, because you do have a 3
Well,
hour
then let me tangent back and say, you're turning 54 on Thursday.
Oh yeah, 1 week from yesterday.
Yeah, 54.
1 week from yesterday.
So we're going to put an all call out to anybody who's local to come on down to the studio next Friday.
Or if you can't make it Friday, come Saturday, because Saturday we're having the market, which is really where the birthday party will be happening. Bartertown.
And Danny Danko is going to be zooming in to wish you a happy birthday.
Oh, good. Oh, good.
Maybe Ed Rosenthal.
Oh, it's going to be
Who do you think
star-studded event around here.
Who's ghosting me on asking you to wish you a happy birthday? His initials are KK.
Uh-oh. Really? Yeah, he did.
Yeah, Kyle Cushman ghosting me. But you know who would love to
Ghosting you?
wish you a happy birthday?
Who's that?
I can't say his name because I don't have any singles on me. That guy. Penske.
Oh, Jesus.
Penske, after blowing us off and not coming into
I
the
was
studio.
already. If he is listening to this show, which he should not be because he's technically not even allowed to, but if he is,
Why isn't he allowed to?
because I put a kibosh on it.
Oh.
He's not even allowed to listen to the show. That's how deep this runs now. So, but if he is, ghosting us was a bad idea. Let me
Bad
tell you,
idea.
bad idea.
Bad idea.
You have
told him
reawakened.
that.
You have reawakened. The Pinskey'sMyBitch.com. It is about to happen, guys. Don't worry.
I said you shouldn't have done that,
Yeah,
Jason.
it may be my birthday present. You should see. You may have to go to that site next week and
Oh, really?
purchase a product from for my birthday.
Well, the interesting thing is that he said to me he was coming into the studio. I kind of leaked it. Telly leaked it. Sitting here. You sat down. You're sitting here. You had no idea. And he's like, so I hear Pinsky's coming in next week. And I'm like, fuck, cat's out of the bag there. And then Pinsky calls me or texts me on Wednesday you ready for his excuse on why he couldn't be here for Friday? He had to leave Denver early. Rich, should we do multiple choice or just want to blurt it out?
Something to make him sound really important in his own mind.
He had business.
Yeah.
Of course.
Unsubstantial. He had to meet Jeff.
He had business.
Or not Jeff.
too.
Yeah.
Hefe?
Yeah.
Or Jeff? No, he said he had business, and I said, well, that's going to get you laughed at. I mean, it's pretty much a guarantee we're going to at least 10 minutes on you.
No. Yeah. Well, there'll be more next week. Don't worry.
Did anybody bring papers when they brought the tray for me to, keep clean? Or all right, look at that. And we have a whole bunch of Yo products and tips and stuff. Where are those?
They're all right in front of you.
Right in front of you, Dave.
There you are, Dave. Look at
There
that.
they are.
I think I'm totally forgetting something now too. I had something. It's like classic on the way here.
Stoner.
I'm like, boom, boom. Got to do that. Got to do this. Then I get here.
Is it newsworthy?
Nah, not really. You are the news guy, so you should be telling us.
Should we promo our guest next week? Do a little of that?
Yeah,
Since it's early in the show.
Sure, since now it'll force him to actually come.
So yeah, hopefully it will. What?
Baker's down there.
Oh, I see him. And I hope we're not. Yeah, we'll just put him on the spot. So I've been trying to make Mark as famous as possible by sharing every single video out there where the guy remotely looks like him. And then Mark in turn shared, or was it you that shared them back, the videos of Arnold Schwarzenegger's face
The Annie ones.
and all that.
Yeah.
And I just thought that guy was so fucking funny that I reached out to him, and he actually replied back. So Brian Monarch, the comedian behind all of the, it's blowing up because every video he puts out gets 50, 80,000, views. He's going to come on the show. He's actually doing a show at the Denver Comedy Store South, Friday and Saturday. He's doing 4 shows. So if you want to see somebody funny, go grab tickets at the Comedy Store and go see Brian Monarch, or you'll get to spend 30 minutes when he comes.
Yeah,
on
we're
the
only
show.
gonna have him for a short time because he's
His reservations at Sushi Day.
Sushi Day. Can't
You
adjust
can't
those.
come to Denver and not eat sushi. I mean, 'cause we're totally title locked and.
Yeah, this is the place you want to get sushi at. Definitely,
course.
like you when you get to Denver, your first thing that hits your mind, sushi.
Sushi.
And you're
Yeah.
like, how far are we from any ocean? Oh, as far as possible. Perfect.
Rocky Mountain Tuna.
Let's do this.
Believe it or not.
Rocky Mountain Tuna.
I asked that
Yeah, I heard
question.
about her.
Ooh.
The old Rocky Mountain tuner.
They
That's
actually
fucked up.
have a contract, and they have fish flown in from the Tokyo fish market.
Oh, I know. No, I know.
It's
Those
crazy.
two brothers always had. There was that one spot that was over by, kind of near REI, on the corner. There was two brothers. They had a little sushi spot there, and it was like, that was a deal. They had every Thursday or whatever day they'd fly them in, and it's awesome.
Nice.
I mean, nowadays, it doesn't really matter where you are. The shit's getting flown in anyway. It's not like you're out the back of your spot fishing for some tuna, right? So, yeah, and to be quite honest, fresh fish is almost impossible to find because it's frozen on the boat as they catch it. You know what I mean? So, usually, if it's pro.
No, and most places are landlocked, get 24-hour flown-in fish. Like Seattle Fish Co., I think.
See,
there's a lot to
cannabis show that doesn't talk about cannabis.
That's right. We talk about fish.
Hey, food is part of cannabis.
Fish Talk. That's the name of our new show, Fish Talk.
No, it should be Food Talk, though. I did bring bialys tonight in addition to bagels today. For those of you who know what a bialy is, I had to attempt one because this fucking town,
most of the Gentiles don't understand what you're talking about.
Me included.
It's kind of like a bagel, except you don't boil it. There's no hole in the middle.
So basically, it has nothing to do with the bagel. It has nothing to do with the bagel.
Well, it's round like a bagel.
Of course.
It's bread. It's round bread. Yeah.
But it's a savory, so it has caramelized onions and breadcrumbs in the middle. And you don't boil them, and because they gave a shit, because I was going to bake bagels here for the shop.
Can't do it.
And
no
believe
bagels.
it or not, no,
Big
it's
sign.
not that there's no bagels. You can't boil anything. If you boil something, you have to have whatever the flow hood is. Yeah. It's
type
like
2
a whole-
diabetes? You have to have type 2 diabetes? Damn.
Damn.
Well, give me 10 years, I might qualify.
Damn, they don't let you do it?
That's fucked up.
Yeah,
you
so
just
they
drink
can't.
requirement.
But I wanted to be able to bake something that resembled a bagel, and so I tried bialys, and I loved them. I don't know what you
I
guys
had one,
will
they were
think.
good.
All right.
I haven't tried them yet.
But
And
they're
look
nothing
what
to
we
do with bagels. What's this?
I think your
This
everything
is from,
bagel's got a little
from-
too much cream cheese on it.
This is from Duke Diamond.
Is it a
Dukester.
Yeah,
Nice.
that
What
is
is it?
headband.
Oh, wow. Nice. Yes, it's very nicely grown. You going to roll it?
Sure.
Yes.
I just rolled this. What is this?
That is.
And for those of you on SoundCloud,
That's
I'm holding
slider.
up a
That's
jar.
slider.
We're talking.
I mean, this is exceptional. I mean, this is absolutely exceptional.
slider.
The nose on. I wish they had smell-o-vision. Actually, since Odie talks so much, he should just come on and describe it.
Well, what's funny about this one is okay. So shout out to Uncle Andy because he's the one who got the cut for me. And this is I've been floating around Minnesota since it got picked up in Amsterdam, early '90s, like '91 cut or something ridiculous. And even though it's pretty much Northern Light Afghan, but it's got a real hazy sort of edge to it. Where if you told somebody this is a haze, they'll be, oh wow, this is a total haze. It's like
That's why I asked.
it's got
'cause I
nothing to do
almost
with
wanted-
haze,
Right.
Which is good. Here, give it to Odie. Let Odie figure it out. Odie's like, I don't believe you. But in general, it's that spicy high school smell, right?
Yep.
Because and everybody who is like in their late 40s, early to mid 50s, pretty much first thing they do, they open it up, they go, dude, I remember that smell. Like that is like graduation time, right around because this is picked up in '91, so it's like a late '80s, early '90s sort of cut.
Okay.
And yeah, it's fire.
Yeah, it smells like the 90s.
Doesn't it?
Sure.
See, Odie agrees, even though he couldn't hear him.
It smells like the 90s, Odie.
Smells like Teen Spirit.
Hey,
Pretty
Dave,
much.
can I grab that lighter?
So what time do we have those guys coming on?
Whenever we feel like it.
Brendan?
How's that?
And whenever we feel like
He's got his.
But he's got his kid and stuff.
Yeah.
I told him originally he's going to come on around 6 because I figured since Tim has so much incredible stuff to tell us that we were going to give him plenty of opportunity to fill the gap. Because technically speaking, even though I totally spaced on it until last night when I was like, oh shit, this is supposed to be your show and you were supposed to figure out all the things. And then I was like, you got anybody? Yes, of course. And that's why I brought in Brandon. But in general, I'm leaving the floor up to you. I'm going to sit back
Awesome.
and do dabs.
Yeah, I am. No, I want to bring on Brandon because he's one, an awesome grower. 2, he's in South Dakota, which is brand new cannabis territory. So I figured, we should all see what's going on in South Dakota and how they're growing. And
I don't think anybody's checking it on in South Dakota
no,
yet,
they're
really.
not. This is like the first,
I didn't even know that they had passed. I was like, wow, that's cool because they were one of the holdouts places,
Yep.
Idaho's still out?
I think Idaho's still out. Yeah.
Are they ever going to,
No.
there's no
They make-
point.
They make too much money off Oregon and Washington.
That's true. That's true there. And that's what's weird about that. You don't think of where it's at as being so, on the receiving end of all that product right there. So it's more the flyover mentality in your mind. You're like, oh, it goes from there and it goes to New York, right? Like, no, but it probably a shitload goes. How many buses do you think they do?
Oh my God, so many.
Must be crazy.
They have a whole department for it.
Yeah,
They
if
have
you're
a
like,
whole
oh, okay, so here comes oh wait, is a U-Haul coming from where? Oregon? Oh yeah, pull this guy over. You're like, zip, zip, zip.
Same thing with Nebraska. Nebraska has those side panel door scanners. So they'll walk up to your car and just scan the panel and they can X-ray, see if it's in your car panels or not.
What?
Yeah, Nebraska's crazy.
They've had that technology since the 90s, and it was funny. Like the first place to have that was in Rotterdam, where all the ships would come in. And where's my little finger? And it was crazy because they hooked it up to a truck, and they would drive it around Amsterdam, and fucking pull up behind people and look in your trunk of your car.
Holy cow.
And basically, like, because they were looking for guns and stuff too, because there was obviously that also happening and stuff. But they would be looking, and it was just crazy. You were just like, oh my God. So they're basically X-raying your car, you know what I mean? And that was like, that was like I'd say like 93. So that's how old that technology is. And now that's just standard shit.
Oh yeah, now they have like a handheld version where they can walk by and just
So for everybody watching the show right now, it really does help out the channel. If you could, for Kyle's glasses. Tim,
Kyle?
sorry, why did I say Kyle?
Not a Kyle.
She was here last week. No, we were talking about...
Don't call me no Kyle.
I didn't call you and the dude, though.
Kyle and the dude. Oh yeah, Kyle and the glasses. Kyle and
No,
the glasses.
because we were talking about the Dab X a second ago, and I...
Smash that like button.
Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. It will help us out. It will also give you notifications on when the show is going live because we change time every week.
No, we don't.
Oh.
No, we're the same. We're consistent.
Generally the same.
But we do have, we are shadow banned. We are completely off the algos. We have no fucking pull in any way, shape, or form. So
We were doing so good for so long.
technically
and something
speaking,
happened.
if everybody did do that, it might affect something, which is weird because I don't even think, like, personally, hate to grovel. Hey guys, smash that like button.
I sat here for 3 years. We never said a fucking word. We started saying something about it, and all of a sudden, we had some serious traction on the channels.
And then we fell off.
And then, you know, it just shit
then
happens.
we had Cheech and Chong on, and then it all fell apart.
Which means something is in the algorithm. It's
yeah.
not like you have Cheech and Chong on and then you stop listening. I mean, these are our heroes, and I hope they're your heroes.
I think the
We wanna have them
algos were like, oh, they're too happy. Cut them down. Shut them out. Like they're doing too good.
They don't
Yeah,
like
give-
they don't like cannabis at all.
What are you doing? Switching?
on. Timothy.
He's got it.
I got it.
Look at him. While he's doing that.
So for all of you Nuggets fans out there, you'll probably be, you'll
that
keep the
Nugget
show on, keep the show on, and then you can have the Nuggets game on without the Nuggets sound in the background, just like Mark does, and you can be like Mark tonight.
Smart man.
Oh yeah, totally. I'm
You
gonna
know.
be listening to the show while I'm at the stadium watching the game. Right.
Right.
Damn.
Yeah.
What dedication.
I know.
He's
yeah.
a good guy.
He's serious about
You know,
this.
I mean, I got to make sure that everything goes right. You know, so I just,
For the game or for us?
for you guys.
Oh, okay.
You know?
Just
Yeah,
I
yeah,
thought I
yeah.
know who you were caring about more. It sounded
I
like
mean,
you were caring a
I
little
already
more.
did my free throws for the day, so I think I'm going
Good.
to be fine for the team.
And on the
Yeah.
topic of clicking the like and subscribe button, I had some really good support this week from people who listen to the show. We've had them on before, but with great suggestions for some future shows. So one of our highest rated shows, or most viewed, was when we had the LED battle between Black Dog and Foch.
Nice.
People loved that one. I don't know if they just loved the banter or they loved the fact that maybe they really did learn something, because you had a scientist on one side trying to argue with a narcissist on the other, and the narcissist won.
They were both ists,
Okay.
so there was like I am a scientist. I am an ist. The battle.
But we're going to have a couple of controls companies on to not battle, but to really talk about their technology and what makes them
No, they're here to
different.
battle, dude. Battle.
I think there's a
blood.
lot of
We want blood.
I think there's a lot of confusion as to, like, what actually works in the market, and people have a lot of questions. So I think it's awesome when we have like multiple companies on and they can actually give the details on all these products that you see in the Hydro store.
Well, I figure.
Well, also
your
it's because
company-
otherwise it's too infomercially if
That's
it's just
right.
one guy, and it's
Right, yeah.
nice if they can. It's great if there's a little tension, of course, too, because,
Yeah.
for instance, everybody's the best until the other guy's in the room. It's the same with the reason why
everything.
Yeah, with everything, with cannabis in general, with fucking products, and sometimes it is good to have that. Like I think if there's one thing people learned on that show was that definitely there is technology advancement and fucking we're all very, very knowledgeable, so we understand it. But for the average consumer, now they get it like blurple, forget about it. We need to move past that because it's just old technology, and they were sort of stuck there, hanging on, fucking hanging in there, like we're gonna, And it's like I get it when you put so much energy and time into that technology, you don't want to fucking deal with the reality of it. It's probably time to move on, guys.
Yep. Now, everything evolves, and that goes for every technology. It has to. Like, that is what technology is constant evolution. That's the cool thing about lights specifically is you went from fluorescent, incandescent bulbs, floodlights that people were hooking up back in the 80s and 90s, and you go into the single-ended bulbs, and you go into the double-ended bulbs. Then all of a sudden you have these LED technologies, and they suck dick at first. They're really, really
They
bad.
sucked dick for. I don't know why we say that's a bad thing. They were terrible lights.
They're really bad at first.
Simply for illuminating an office. People were getting headaches. They weren't productive, and they had to go through so many iterations of adapting the spectrum so that people could just sit in a room and not be uncomfortable. To now apply it to cannabis, which is so much more photosensitive to what the plant actually needs, to what we need.
Right.
And it took a while, but I really think we're there. And I think those guys did a good job of at least furthering the technology.
But the funny thing is, and this is maybe where we're definitely having a show in the near future because our buddy Wolf has enlightened us on the realities of he's already told me like LEDs are in the dust.
What?
Ooh.
He's like,
From
nah,
what?
It's yesterday's tech?
it's almost yesterday's tech. So
To
in the
what?
near,
Uh-oh, Odie's reaching for the mic.
I
You
am-
might have done something.
I am not-
You might have just poked a bear.
Oh, no, hold on.
No.
hold on. Oh, Odie's getting ready to sing a big song.
Is it live
No.
now?
No.
Is there a button on there?
Yeah,
Oh,
but
yeah.
Telly
There it
turned
is.
it off.
Telly, you forget.
How about now? Am I live?
You're live.
Yeah, I've been talking with Wolf as well, and his guy that's come up with this, and it's very interesting.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna mention what it is, but I'll give you the stats. The stats were 1,500 watt per fixture.
Hold on. We weren't supposed to talk about this until we got him under an exclusive arrangement so that we could help him not get ripped off again.
This is I'm only giving two stats.
All right.
That got me excited as a grower because the growers want to hear numbers, and we're all like, okay, whatever. So 1,500 watt per fixture, 5 fixtures, side by side against. Now I can say this name brand, Gavita, 1,000 watt Gavita
Throwing down against Jair. Bam!
on overdrive, right? 1,500. So 15 of those
Jair,
versus
listening?
5 of those. A quarter-pound difference on final product.
Holy cow.
I didn't get the full yields, but that was the difference, quarter-pound between the two.
Sounds like a triple
So if you're thinking like, okay,
Hold
so
on, no, I can't accept that number difference. You can tell me the difference, but you have to tell me what the harvest was.
we can't.
Because
I
if
don't
it
know.
was
I'm not going
the
to
difference
make up
between-
numbers.
Right, but that's what we need to know. If it's you harvest 10 or 10 and a quarter pounds, it's
Well, I mean, you got to imagine if it's 15,000 watt lights, you're definitely getting a minimum of 15 pounds. If the guy's growing less than a pound of light for a Gavita, then he's a fucking terrible grower. So let's say 2 pounds of light, which is kind of your average. And so if you got 30 and the other guy got 29.
oh, you're talking about a quarter pound per fixture.
No, the whole thing, the whole difference of the whole harvest was only a quarter pound less, which is amazing. So
That's really good efficiency.
and we're talking about like the numbers when you start going, wait a minute,
Well,
5
that's a
fixtures.
third less energy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's interesting right out of the gate, right? Where you're like, okie dokie. So
That efficiencies we have to evolve to have the efficiencies.
That's
know?
right.
And it's not like this UV tech that's out there that will kill you if you're in the room.
but it
when
sounds
it's
to
on.
me like it's still like an arc and it's still like a real, like we're going back to the other original single, because it's like there's no way, well, maybe, I don't know. I don't think, because if it's not an LED, it can't be this point of light. It's got to be, there's no other real light like that, right? So we might be get back to our roots, man, which is funny because I've been saying since day one, like I love LEDs and they're fun and efficient and you can stack them and there's all sorts of cool things about them, but there's something to be said about growing big plants under double-endeds or even old school bulbs. Just you get a different type of growth, and it's like you get a better fade. You get like it's a little more natural. There's something about it, like it comes in and it fades away, whereas the LEDs kind of keep everything like static longer. Like you have a much harder fade. Like you have to really like force them, you know, with food.
They eat different too. And like catching up with just learning how to adjust to LEDs from like even HPS or CMH is difficult because you gotta know they're gonna want more food than usual.
And they require different room temperature too, right?
Higher room,
10
higher
degrees.
temperatures.
Different CO2 amounts. Yep.
Which is those are all bonuses. Well, the food part maybe not, because you know obviously it's going to cost more, maybe. But that means that they're being more efficient, which means they're obviously your yield. You know, so it all. I have nothing. I don't think that. I think LEDs have their place and they're going to be there forever. But it's just funny to see this, and especially if you start thinking about greenhouses, and which is really the way that it ends up anyway. Right? Down the road, once we hit efficiency numbers, everyone's like, "So we're taking warehouses and doing what with them now? Like, what are we doing?
Right.
That is so dumb. That is so dumb. Makes no sense." They're like, you have a greenhouse where you've got stacked wall-to-wall plants. Everything's efficient. Everything's designed for it. You're using the sun. You're using what that makes. So in the long run, I think everybody will figure out that probably greenhouse is the way to go, and the only reason to grow indoors is because of convenience and closeness to wherever your proximity of your dispensary might be. You know what I mean? Like if you can't put a greenhouse in the middle of the city or something like that.
I mean,
well, you can.
It's interesting. that
We
when
have done it.
You talk about the use of the word greenhouse is evolved. It's a little different right now. When we refer to a greenhouse right now, I'm assuming you mean a environmentally controlled indoor grow that can take advantage of the sun. I mean, that's really all it is. It's like every building wishes they could just cut their roof off and put in something that will pass the sun so that they could take advantage of the free solar, because that's what the plant wants.
Right.
So greenhouse technology has evolved to the point where, I mean, the good ones, you don't even know you're in you don't walk into that, oh, it's so fucking humid in here. Where's the airflow? It's so stagnant. It's none of that anymore. It's literally like walking into an indoor garden that simply has free lights. All right, and you're just paying for supplemental.
It's completely changed how we grow food. I mean, over in like the desert, over in the Middle East, they can grow food now because they've perfected how to build greenhouses over there. So it's totally changed the game on how we can produce crops and produce in cannabis. Because in the future, it's pretty much going to go to greenhouse because we're not going to be able to afford the efficiency of taking energy off the grid to really grow cannabis. You're going to have to be in a greenhouse to have the sun, so you can save on the electric bill.
Well, we're lucky in the States that our prices are sort of, reasonable-ish. But like if you were in Europe right now, with the last year of changes in price of everything, you'd just be knocked out of the park. It'd be like, wait a minute, so how much are we spending? Because everything doubled at least. You know what I mean? And some places even more. So you don't want to be. That's the problem with cannabis growing in general. Is we suck so much fucking power, dude. It's just ridiculous. Like you'll see, like dropping in new switch gears on a property, and you're just like, oh, that's enough to run like, 2 or 3 city blocks, and it's like one facility.
They don't have a wall that you used to walk up to 15 years ago. They have a room dedicated to managing power. So it is, it really has changed. So if anyone out there has questions, I mean, real good technical questions about greenhouses, we're going to have Jared, the founder and CEO of Hortitech, on the show probably within the next month. He's just finding a reason to come out. We were trying to see if any music at Red Rocks was to his liking, so he can double up. But I spoke to him the other day, and he'll be coming out. And these greenhouses, I mean, I come from the energy industry, and the interesting thing is that the cannabis industry adopted this style of growing. Like when Medicine Man was built in Denver, it was basically a grow within a building. Like they didn't utilize the building for the grow. They just built small grow rooms within the building. And like you could see, like they looked like when you were walking around, they had side panel air conditioners coming out of these rooms that were almost independent. So it is truly evolved, and these guys have like it's a greenhouse within a greenhouse.
Yeah.
So there's a plenum between the two, and he has an incredible marketing guy. He made me laugh.
Nice.
He made me reach out to the reel they made about their greenhouses was so funny. that I had to reach out to him. And
Did you ever see that photo of that house in Sweden that the guy did where he built that greenhouse around his house?
Oh, yeah.
It's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
pretty famous. It was sick. You were just like, that's
Yeah.
fucking the shit right there. Just like,
They have a guy like that in Eugene, Oregon that I used to know who apparently he grows bananas indoors.
then you need a greenhouse. I would imagine.
Yeah.
And mostly what I had planned for this conversation was actually really on efficiencies and energy, actually.
Look at
And,
that. It's like we knew what
How did that? I had no idea.
I'm telling
We
you.
didn't.
So, part of agriculture is advancing, is evolving. It's being more efficient with what you got.
And now everybody's
And-
such bean counters,
Well, yeah, totally. And so I'm from the fertilizer industry. I'm not light, so I'm not HVAC. So I can tell you, how the lights came out, and you know the history of lights. Do we know the history of fertilizers? Do you know what's in the bottle that you purchased from the hydroponic store, and where those minerals came from?
I know that in 1989, the guys that made black gold that was sold, I was told they were the pot guys, and that's what I had access to.
Right.
And
Right.
first time I used it, killed all my plants because I didn't go through it. And second
There's the
time I
party
found
guy.
they had all these nugs of fert, like whatever they mixed,
Sure.
weren't broken up.
Right.
So I would literally have to spend an hour or two
Yeah.
breaking it all up beforehand.
And I mean,
kill my plants.
A lot of these compounds that we're using, like, the bottled nutrients, the powdered, salts that you're getting, they're natural gas fertilizers. I don't think anyone realizes that
They're what?
Natural gas fertilizers.
natural gas. It's like
Methane, like what we frack out of the ground. That's all the starting material for every nitrogen salt. So
Nitrogen-based
Fertilizer.
nutrients support fracking.
Absolutely. The only way we can get ammonia is from methane, and we get methane from fracking. And,
Nice.
and that's what I mean. I don't think we
But
understand.
how do they so before frack? Because fracking's not that old, right? I mean, it's only.
It's pretty. It's
20
World
years?
War II.
Oh, really? They've been
Yep.
fracking that long?
Oh yeah.
I feel like it wasn't that long. I feel like it just got popular because they probably legalized it. They were like,
Ammonium.
we don't care anymore. Dump some chemicals in there.
Every nitrogen, there's 3 forms of nitrogen. Every nitrogen is from ammonia. We get ammonia strictly from natural gas. And so no matter what form you're using, it's coming from natural gas. That's where we get it from. But if you make ammonium nitrate, so nitrates are from ammonia. So ammonium nitrate, go boom. All right.
Go boom boom.
So that's what we used in World War II. That's
Right.
what we made all of our bombs out of. So we were fracking back then, because the only way we can make ammonia is to take methane, strip the hydrogen out of it, and then take nitrogen from the air, because the air is 78% nitrogen, and combine the two under like 30,000 psi and like 900 degrees Fahrenheit. It's called the Haber-Bosch process. You can look it up if you want. And
You're not teaching somebody how to make a bomb now, are you?
no, I'm
this is
teaching you how
to make-
nitrogen's made.
How nitrogen.
So that 1000 on your label, that 1400, the Yara, the 15.
Is that like
15
different weights of it or something?
Just
or?
different amounts of nitrogen.
Oh, just general amounts.
Yep. And so the different forms, ammonia, nitrate, and urea, are all different. Have different amounts of nitrogen to them. And the way we react them together, you can make urea, ammonium nitrate, and combine all 3 forms of nitrogen together. But it all comes from ammonia. So the process, and I'll walk you through. I know this pretty well. This is kind of my
This is
specialty.
wheelhouse. This is in a
so
wheelhouse. It's in my
I'm-
wheelhouse.
like you said, Dave, a lot of people aren't specialists in this, and I am, and I have to kind of take a step back sometimes, right? And I'm going to break it down really simple from the very beginning, and we're just going to walk into the process.
Time to get
and
your
we're
dabs
gonna-
ready.
We're going to get your dabs ready.
Talk
get your
like
joints
you're
ready.
speaking to somebody who has an attention span at the time it takes to put cream cheese on a bagel.
Just relax,
Yeah.
bro. Slow down.
Perfect. So here we go. So we frack the ground. We put out acids, we put out compounds. It breaks the ground up. We extract natural gas out of it. Then we refine the methane. Methane is one of the main components of natural gas. So that's a carbon and 3 hydrogens. So we want the hydrogens out of that because hydrogens are tokens in chemistry. We can make molecules change properties with hydrogen. So we need a source to get hydrogens out of. Well, methane is CH3, so there's 3 hydrogens to 1 carbon in methane. So we break it apart. Then we have our carbon fraction. Then we have our hydrogens. So that hydrogen is gold. It's money. In the chemical world, it is what we need to go. So we're always trying to get so we can make reactions with things. So then we take the air, we compress it, we isolate the nitrogen out of the air, and then then in a really chemically laden process, we combine the nitrogen and the hydrogen gas together, and we react ammonia. and that's the ammonia's NH3. So essentially, we take the carbon, the CH3, we take the carbon off and replace it with an N.
Now, is ammonia gas or liquid? Right?
So ammonia is gas.
Yes, I
So
thought,
it's not stable in room temperature. So we have to compress it. But again, ammonia go boom. Right?
Right.
So ammonia explodes. So it's very difficult to transport it. So we want to react it with that carbon fraction we took off the methane.
Is that the same ammonia that they're pumping underground right now?
Oh yeah, yep.
Okay.
It's the same ammonia.
Goes across my property. That's why I'm wondering.
Yep. It's all ammonia. It's all the same. It's all the same.
Boom.
It's all the same. So
Property go boom.
So that's the dilemma, right? Or that was the dilemma. So we came up with an idea of taking that carbon molecule from the methane. We can make CO2 out of it because it combines with O2, oxygen, right? So we take that CO2 and react it with the ammonia, and we get urea. See, a lot of people think urea is a waste product because our urine's like 2% urea.
Right.
But none of the urea you see on the market, it's a $100 billion market. None of
That's not urea. That's a different one.
Sorry, excuse me. Odie, come on.
none of the urea is actually a sustainable waste product. It's funny because it's actually called carbamide. But we call it urea because it's what we find in urine.
Makes it sound so appealing.
It makes it,
You're like, oh yeah, oh it's piss,
well,
great.
no, it makes it sound sustainable. It makes it
Yes.
sound like you're using it from a renewable source.
Well, I guess
It's what's in the
maybe.
licorice.
You're
that we
taking the
got.
fracked gas, reacting in ammonia,
Wow.
and then just combining it with CO2 so it hardens.
So
it stabilizes.
nobody's using animal waste products.
No,
for
99%
urea.
of urea comes from ammonia.
Gotcha.
99.999%. And so the way ammonia explode, it go boom.
Yeah.
So the way we stabilize it so it doesn't is we bond it to CO2, and that makes urea. So that's the second form of nitrogen.
And that's more stable at that
That's
point.
more stable. So then we can transport it, right? We can ship it without it trying to explode on us. It's super easy. We can put it in bags. We can prill it. We can make liquids out of it. We can do whatever we want with it. But ammonia by itself is super unstable. So we need to react it in a couple different ways. So the first way is with CO2, we make urea. The other way is we oxidize the ammonia, which means we take oxygen and heat the ammonia up through a catalyst, and it takes the hydrogens off the nitrogen and add oxygens. And then that oxygen combines to the nitrogen and makes nitrous monoxide or nitrites.
Okay.
So it's a precursor to nitrates.
I was gonna say
we
so-
oxidize ammonia to get the precursor to nitrates. So
Which isn't not a good thing either.
no, of course
Which
not.
is not a good thing either.
Nitrogen monoxide
Yeah.
is an emission. It poisons our atmosphere. So anyways, we take this nitrites, the precursor to nitrates, and then we bubble it through water, and that makes nitric acid.
Okay.
So now we have all three forms of our nitrogen. You have nitric acid at the end, you have urea, which is stabilized ammonia, and you have ammonia, right? But that's what we compose fertilizers out of, right? So every single nitrogen fertilizer you have is composed of natural gas molecules, because the only way we can make ammonia is with natural gas. So it's not environmentally friendly. So in order to make these fertilizers we're using, they take like potassium hydroxide or calcium hydroxide, and they bond it to like nitric acid, and it makes calcium nitrate. So even, that's the furthest along we go to make these products, but it's still, you see calcium nitrate, but you don't, like I said, you don't look at it and go, oh, that's from natural gas.
Right.
And
I mean, because it'll say derived from, and then they'll give you that. That's as far as it
Calcium
goes.
nitrate.
It doesn't say where that's derived from.
Right.
So it's like
Right.
derived from something which was probably derived from something else, but we won't tell you what that is because
Right.
that would make you freak out
Yep.
and not want to buy it.
And so when we look at nature and nitrogen in nature, I find it fascinating that like rainwater, right? Whenever lightning strikes the sky and the water in the atmosphere mixes with the nitrogen in our atmosphere, we get nitric acid. We get ammonia inside of our rain. So the plants outside, that's why after a rain, the plants will start praying.
Yeah.
Because the rain will come down and give the plant a very, very minute amount of nitrates, and it will absorb it through its tissue.
Yeah.
Right? And so that's why plants get happy when it rains. And nature's beautiful like that, where it's like it just needs a little bit of this all the time whenever it rains, and the plant's just sustained on its
Yeah.
nitrogen load. But that load is less than 1 part per million in every droplet of water. So you're not getting, we fertilize at 50 to 200 part per million of nitrogen. The sky is less than 1 part per million when lightning does its natural thing to make nitrogen in the water.
Which is not every day.
No,
Yeah.
it's not. And
So it's like the plants maybe every third week might get it or something like that.
Right.
If they're lucky, or in the summertime they get a
Right.
little bit more.
Or if you're in a rainy place, right? And that's
Yeah.
why tropicals grow the way they do. And that's why the nature has evolved itself, is because what the sky does whenever lightning strikes, that's the plants have evolved to interact with that. And
Well, it's also like I think lightning's one of those things which, especially once you get an ozone generator, the first time you get one, you're like, you start, cluing it to like, oh, wait a minute, it does have that vibe. You know what I mean? Like you get that really weird, because then if it's lightning out, you want to go out right away, and then you can, oh yeah, I can smell it. I got that ozone smell. You know, like you all of a sudden recognize ozone, because ozone's such an easy thing to,
you can
like,
pick it out.
like, which is important because it's not very good for you. So you shouldn't know too much. Like you should definitely know not to be in a room full of ozone because it's not good for you. But but it is very, like, especially in the beginning, I think that was like our top of our technology in Canna World, right? Wasn't it like, you got an ozone generator? Like, oh my God. And it was just this little stupid thing. I remember the first one I bought.
Expensive
it was
too.
So commercial, man.
It was so expensive. Well, it was expensive, and it didn't do shit compared to what it really needed to do. You had to like I was like, oh, well, this thing needs to be like fed through a system or something. Otherwise, it's doing just a little area around it.
The bubble around it.
Yeah, pretty much. It was like you're in this little. Okay, this is great if I had like a 2 foot by 2 foot room, but you know, but in general now it's like pretty much figured out. Like you definitely don't want to even be in the room, so have that in some pipe somewhere.
Yeah.
As the air is circulated.
Yep.
You know, so.
Yeah, totally.
But ozone's awesome.
No, it is. And so, you get nitrogen in a couple different places in nature. You get it through the water, and then, so that's usually the nitrates you get through water. Nitrates don't really exist inside the soil.
Okay.
They run out. Soil can't hold nitrates. So it usually just comes from what's in the water, the rainfall, that you get nitrates. You get ammonia through the soil because every living organism is hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, and carbon. So whenever organisms die and they deteriorate, they release ammonia. Whenever you cut grass or plants start dying and they release the green, that's ammonia, right? So we find ammonia in the soil, though, only at 1 to 5 part per million. So not even, again, we fertilize at 50 to 200 part per million of nitrogen at a time. And at any given time, the most is 5 part per million in the soil. So I guess my point is there's a discrepancy between what we're doing in a hydroponic sense and what nature naturally does. Because I find it incredibly ironic. So we frack the ground to get these molecules, and then we make ammonia, we make the nitrogens out of it, and then we feed our plants these molecules, we put it back in the ground, and then what the ground does is the ecosystem starts adjusting because the plants, the microbes no longer are needed around the plants. Right. So all the microbes start dying. The pH of the soil changes, so all your earthworms go away, all your arthropods, all your beneficial bacteria, all your beneficial fungi are like, I'm out. I don't need to be here. So it makes an inhospitable environment for those microorganisms and actually protect or grow the plant that are responsible for. So then you got to keep using more and more of these nitrogen salts, and it keeps altering and it keeps killing the topsoil. So then we don't have any predators. We don't have any pollinators. So yields go down. So you need to feed the plants more. You got to use more pesticides now because you don't have any of the predators. You don't have any of the beneficial organisms that keep the ecosystem intact. Right. So what ends up happening is now you got to spray neurotoxins all over your food to make sure the bugs don't eat it. And then we can pick that and then we sell it to ourselves. So not only do we kill the environment, to get these chemicals, we then put it on our food that has to use more chemicals to kill the bugs that we have to now battle. Just so we can pick and eat the poison that we put on our food. And meanwhile, our land is getting destroyed by these nitrogen salts because when nitrates don't stick inside the soil, right? They run out. So when you're using that much nitrogen salts, it doesn't stick inside your soil. It runs into the riversides. It runs into the ponds. It runs into the water tables. And eventually it all goes to the rivers and all goes to lakes and all goes
even
to
though it doesn't
the ocean.
Stick per se, it lives on. It has a long half-life.
What happens is it goes.
What's its length of?
Till it gets eaten up.
2 million years.
Till it gets eaten up. Till it gets utilized. Okay. These molecules do not just go anywhere. So they can off-gas, and that's when over time they will off-gas. But mostly what happens is organisms eat nitrogen because we're all nitrogen. Right. So it will run off into the rivers, into the intercoastals, to the Gulf of Mexico, and it will create dead zones. Because algae loves nitrates. Algae loves phosphates, and that's soluble phosphates, and that's what we use to fertilize crops.
So you get like a bloom.
So you get an algae bloom. And this is why there's a 6,500 square mile of a dead zone, because the algae bloomed, ate up all the oxygen, prevented the light from getting through the water because it made a blanket over it, and ate up all the nitrates and killed all the fish. Killed all the wildlife, killed all the aquatic plants underneath of it. And that's why nothing can grow within the 6,500 square mile band in the Gulf of Mexico around Florida and all the south.
Nice. And that's kind of like what happened in Holland too, even because all the greenhouses, right? So all the greenhouses were dumping all their stuff off, and it was going into the waterways, and then the waterways in the summertime especially have these crazy blooms, and so then they started putting anti-blooming agents within the water into the drinking water. So it's for agriculture, but it got into everything, of course. And so, and those were like more of a problem. Those were actually more, from a human point of view, were worse.
Right.
But it was all because we created this nightmare of a
We created
situation.
the monster.
And it was also probably the first people running high amounts of salts through greenhouses, because these were all synthetic fertilizers. These were not because of natural fertilizers. So it's classic example.
Yep. So not only do we kill the environment, but we poison the food, and then we poison ourselves, and then we poison the environment over time too afterwards.
Dave's like, dude, I'm the bummer guy around here. You're stealing my fire.
So we'll get into efficiencies, right? So,
but wait, hold on. I would just say that you've laid out a concise, well thought argument against. However, I think you could have gotten the exact same bang for the buck, because some of the science was way over my head, by just staying on topic and saying
me staying on topic.
Nitrogen fertilizers support fracking. And if you use them, you support fracking, and then that's it. Mic dropping.
I was leaving that for you.
That's you. That's all you.
That's you, Dave. That's
what no support fracking. You had me at that, man. Let's talk about that.
Well, it's getting to realize that because petroleum has products are in everything, dude. It's like it's literally if you tried to like live a non-petroleum based life 100%, like I'm not going to use anything ever, any cars, but you would be fucked, right? Because it's pretty much it's so ingrained. But I mean, a lot of that is like most of it is totally unnecessary.
Yep,
it's great, and we've just done it because it's so easy.
So that's why I talk about efficiencies, because to fertilize, say, corn, for example, we have to put down 200 pounds average, just 200 pounds of nitrogen per acre. So if you put urea down, which is 42% nitrogen, right? So if you put that down, you're putting 400 pounds, 450 pounds of urea down per acre, right? So you fertilize 4 acres, you're pretty much at a ton of urea, right? For 4 acres of corn throughout the year. Right. 1 ton of urea requires 33,500 cubic feet of methane, of natural gas. So just so you can kind of, I mean, it's hard to picture that, but it's a big freaking number.
And then you start talking about, like, think about your average corn farmer. Like, nobody's talking about an acre. They're like, how many acres you do?
I think we do
100,000.
Over 2 million.
Are you kind of saying that the petroleum industry has kind of sold a bill of goods to the American consumer, believing that fracking brings energy rates down, and that the gas that comes out is used to heat their homes and heat factories and generate power, when really it sounds like it's all going to fertilizer?
80%.
80%.
Just about 80%.
Vinny's furious. Look at him right now.
Well,
He's
think about it. So just if you look at just corn, I think we have almost 2 million acres of corn.
It's crazy.
And if 4 acres requires 1 ton of urea, just imagine how much nitrogen we're taking. So this is what I talk about.
Start multiplying those numbers. It's like out of control. It's definitely going to blast.
That's 14 trillion.
It's blowing off your. It's giving you one of those like overheat. You're like, no.
So this is why I talk about efficiencies, and this is where we get to the organic versus synthetic fertilizer conversation, because you can't look at this through a dichotomy. You can't like it doesn't work just through one or the other. You have to understand that we have to have nitrogen to grow plants, right? Nature requires it. But why do we have to put down 200 pounds of nitrogen per acre to grow our crops when it's obviously clear land?
Well, especially when it's corn, and you just know how lame it is, like long term.
Yeah, but 80% of the corn we grow goes to cattle feed anyway, right?
Cattle feed, yeah, exactly. Most of it.
So we have this conundrum where we have to feed our plants, we have to grow food because everybody needs more protein, everybody needs to grow more food, the population's constantly increasing. So we have a moral dilemma of like, how do we grow more without killing everything around us in the process, right? So that's why I say we need to use things better. I mean, we're far enough along in our technological advancement in society where we could be the best stewards of the earth if we just applied our technology that way. If we applied the efficiencies that we have with modern technology to fertilizer usage and using biological catalysts like other organic fertilizers, like new age organic fertilizers that increase the nitrogen use efficiency. And look at this through a more scope of like, how do we make this the most efficient? How do we use the least amount of nitrogen and salts and get the most amount of gain? Mm-hmm. And
especially when it's supposed to be a closed loop, you know what I mean? Like there is a system, it's there, it's nature's already produced a whole closed loop, very easy to follow. Right. It's just that we sort of hijacked that closed loop and went for this shortcut, which is like the classic, right? Shortcuts always work, right? They're always the best idea, and that's just what we've and again, like you said in the very, very beginning, which is, this is all because during World War II we had so much we were producing so much. Mm-hmm. And then we had so much waste and so much
we already set up the
byproduct,
infrastructure.
and we were like, oh, what are we going to do with
So
this?
you can't just get rid of the infrastructure, right? You already built it.
Exactly.
So you got to do something with it. And that's why these salts were made. And then they got branded as the Green Revolution.
Right. Military complex is like a nightmare. It's just like, it's such a big thing. It's biggest waste.
And, this is why, like, with fertilizers, we got to keep our mind open about what we can do and really understand that there are advancements in the past 20 or 30 years that haven't been in the 120 years we've been in agriculture. In the 80 years we've been using these chemical fertilizers. Mm-hmm. Part of that is like we've introduced a new form of nitrogen to the fertilizer realm. It's protein nitrogen. And that's using nitrogen derived from animals and derived from plants, because we finally have the technology where we can render out the nitrogen from these plants. Like, we can take soybeans and render out the pure nitrogen fraction and get 17% nitrogen out of just soybeans. Mm-hmm. And it's a different process. It's a different way to kind of feed that. It's a different way than we've used to been doing it for the past 80 years. But you can take, we've done a study where we took 10 pounds of our protein nitrogen and put it on an acre of corn, which again, 200 pounds of nitrogen is required. The farmer put 50 pounds down instead, and got the same yield as 200 pounds with just pure urea. Mm-hmm. So you might have to spend more money on a new product, but also you're going to
would it have the same situation where it would have to be same replenishment levels every year, or would it? Yeah,
I mean, you are putting down salt, but over time, like protein nitrogen is sticky. So you can use protein nitrogen to increase your nitrogen use efficiency by just having the nitrogen, it bonds to the salt-based nitrogen and keeps it in your soil, so it doesn't just run out. Because a lot of time we're putting down 200 pounds of urea throughout the year. It's a kitchen sink approach. Throw whatever you can at it, and the plant will take up whatever it can take up, and the rest just kind of either volatilizes into the atmosphere, because ammonia is a gas, right? Mm-hmm. So when we fertilize with it, the sun vaporizes it, and if you drive through Kansas during certain times of the year, the field looks like it's on fire. The glow of the fire, you can see the fumes rise up.
Right.
It's just fuming
like
up
off the
ground.
A highway or something.
Yeah, it's like glistening at you, or like waving, and you can see the ammonia vaporize firsthand.
Right.
And then what isn't utilized because usually also urea ammonium nitrate, UAN, is
it's like a drain to waste reverse going into the air instead of going into the.
Oh no! Well, the nitrates run out through the ground.
Also, it's a combo of both.
So it's a combo of both. When you apply urea ammonium nitrate, the ammonia vaporizes out, and the nitrates run out into the water streams and contaminate. So you're volatilizing up, and have negative runoff down.
Nice.
Hey.
Quality.
And the
efficiency. There you go. There's your efficiency right there. You've cracked it. You've cracked it.
Well, we have new technology, so we really need to keep our minds open and fresh, and looking for the next big thing for the fertilizer world. Because, like I said, back with lights, we started with incandescence, and now we're into LEDs, and it's like the most advanced technology. And so if lights can do it, why can't nutrients?
But funny enough, incandescence, there's still. I mean, there's one now still burning, right? Fucking like hundreds of years old, still burning.
Yeah.
Because that is that's the first product the first product to figure out we need redundancy built into this product, because otherwise we'll never sell another one, right? Because we can make these things to last forever. It's like, how long you want it to last? How about 3 months? You know what I mean? They're like, yeah, that sounds great. Where we could have it either for 100 years or 3 months, but we'll go for the 3 months because that's how they make money. And that's the unfortunate part of all this shit is like, once, of course you're going against another big fucking giant thing. Like, cannabis is always against the biggest players in the world. Like, we never go against
it's an alternative
small little groups. It's like, tobacco, oil, pharmaceuticals.
That's
Why
who else?
they started by killing Tesla.
Who else can we fucking destroy? You know what I mean? And
Well, I mean, I feel like cannabis has always been like the alternative market.
It's always been.
None of us want to wear
course.
suit and ties. None of us want to go into a cubicle. We got into this market because we're very anti that, if not the complete opposite of that.
Right.
Well, because we were, criminals.
Yeah.
For generations. They still
Still are somewhere.
in this country, in places like where Alabama, Kansas, Nebraska,
Idaho.
even to some extent Utah still.
Yeah, name those states, please, again.
Yeah, they're horrible. I mean, they're just horrible.
Yeah.
And we need to change that. But back to how people who use nitrogen-based fertilizers support fracking. How do we get the word out? Because I can almost guarantee everyone will plead ignorance.
Of course.
Because I was today old when I learned this.
How are you supposed to know? It doesn't come
Right.
with a manual. I'm a chemist, and I had to understand. Last year I worked on a project of making green ammonia and not using methane, using another means, which you can use from hydrogen gas from electrolysis from water. So you can take water and make hydrogen out of it. So we were going down that rabbit hole, and it made me realize that oh my gosh. I mean, I'm not a chemical engineer. I'm an organic chemist, and that's the big difference, right? Like chemical engineers are the guys filling out the process of like this is how you make molecules. I'm the one just making the molecules. So I kind of got some chemical engineering and working with some really, really qualified people last year, and realized that like that's it. We're all using nitrogenous salts with these fertilizers, and no one knows they're coming from methane.
Fracking.
Nothing. No one knows where it's coming from fracked material. And I know we all want to help. I think we all should want to do better for the world. We all should. We have the means to. So why wouldn't we? We're pretty conscious now. We're pretty aware because of the internet of like what's going on. So it just takes the talk. Like I said, discourse. Discourse is the biggest factor. Everybody's talking together, and this is why I love the plant, because we can get real high and smoke some joints, and we can have some really awesome conversations and learn a bunch of stuff and realize a couple things.
Well, the thing is, it's like the whole industry definitely needs an organic approach.
Yeah.
Just in general, I think, and also convenience too, because that's the problem with organic. Is everybody's always like feeling like they have to learn a whole new language, which is especially when you start making teas and you have percentages of time where you have efficiency where it's like if you looked at it under a microscope, it's active between this hour and that hour. You know what I mean? That's like really hard for average people to fucking grasp.
Right. Yeah. Honestly, I think it comes down to education. It comes to just realizing and just hearing and doing the research. Like, for example, in nature, mycorrhizae has been the number one. I don't know why mycorrhizae isn't the first and number one thing out of everybody's mouth, because mycorrhizae is the only reason why plants are on land.
Right.
Because plants couldn't go on land from the ocean whenever the Earth was first terraforming and cooling down, because aquatic life was the first life on Earth. And then whenever the land started cooling down and it started to be like habitable,
they were like reaching out to the plants, like, come on, man.
Well,
I got you.
It was viable land because nature will balance itself and actually fill up and take up any voids. So when the ocean filled up, where else is it going to go? Then when the land started cooling down, it was a pathway for the vegetation, for all the organisms to go. But there wasn't any organic matter. It was only molten rock, right? So there wasn't any dead stuff. There wasn't any carbon around. There wasn't any way for the plants to get nutrients. So mycorrhizae, the beneficial fungi on plant roots, so it forms a relationship on 95% of all plants. Mycorrhizae started in the ocean, and when plants went to the land, it could transport the nutrients from the ocean actually up into the plant through a myco delivery system, through like the fungi connecting to itself and connecting to the plants on land, and still having a connection down to the ocean, so they can just transport nutrients to itself. So one of the biggest functions that plants use to grow on Earth is the mycorrhizae that's natural in the entire Earth, because it's the reason why plants are here. So when we put these chemicals down, we're actually disrupting a very, very ecologically advanced system that's been evolving for millions of billions of years to perfect growing into plants for growing in this world.
What could go wrong with that?
I sent you a picture, Mark, to post that. It's kind of funny. I put some of your Dr. Roots, right? And I sprinkled some. I would sprinkle some around the roots, or around the bottom of the stem, and I was going to water it in. and then I forgot to water that one in, and I came back the next day, and it's funny because whenever you see like mold of any sort, you're like, what the fuck, plants are molding, right? And then I realized it was a pile of, and that was 24 hours.
Yeah.
Like in 24 hours, that's what happened from leaving the pile of Dr. Roots down there, and we're not watering it totally in, like it just kind of left it. But I was like, damn, that shit grew quick, like 24 hours. That shit was jumping.
There's a bunch of bacteria, beneficial bacteria, and fungal food in our Dr. Root. Right. So my whole point with Dr. Root is like I want to feed the mycorrhizae and all the beneficial fungi in your pot. Because I feel like that's how you get the best start to plants, is fortify the plants with its organisms that it's evolved with throughout the years.
Yeah.
Really? So. You don't want to just spray pesticides and kill it all?
I think it was the first
just
thing.
Put nitrogen on it.
And it was funny too. In Holland, that was the first like Dutch trick that I figured out. I was like, what is this stuff? Because I would get these clones from these guys, and it was all just like all just kind of poured around. And I was like, what is this shit these guys keep? I thought it was rooting hormone that they were putting, because they used powdered at the time. Right. So I was like, why is there like, what do they think that's going to help? You know what I mean? And then later the guy's like, no, you should make a I couldn't understand a word he said. Yeah, should make a
It's not possible.
And then I was like, I got a bag of it, and I was like, oh shit, this is the shit right here. This is it. And I realized I got first little Dutch trick.
Yeah, the funny part is that, like, a lot of the salt brews, a lot of the salt method is to use a high phosphorus product at the beginning of the plant life. So then you put a whole bunch of phosphate salts, and the thing about
everything out a little bit.
Well, the thing about mycorrhizae is it's rock phosphate is all over the Earth's crust. Rock phosphate is in 90% of the entire Earth's crust, but the plant can't take up any of the phosphorus. So the mycorrhizae has evolved through millions of years to digest the rock phosphate in the earth and then deliver it through the myco network into the root system and inject it into the roots. So the mycorrhizae is the digester of phosphorus. But what we find is when you put a whole bunch of phosphorus salts around mycorrhizae, it stops growing because the plant no longer needs the mycorrhizae to get the phosphorus, because you put a whole bunch of phosphorus salts on it.
Sure, you just kind of kill the
it just won't grow. So there's no need for it. So it doesn't have the symbiosis that you need. So you put these phosphate salts. The nitrates adjust the ecosystem by the pH. The phosphorus adjusts the ecosystem by preventing the mycorrhizae from growing.
Yeah, I think it's also part of like the getting to real, like trusting the plant more than yourself, because that's also part of like, you're growing truly organic. You don't really need, I mean, yes, you need to pH your water if the first time, like, but once you know, you pretty much, like, most of the time, if your soil's healthy, it'll just adjust all that for you. It's not even like you need to think about it too much. But if it's hydro, that's like your most hypercritical thing, is what's your EC level, what's your pH, where you at that exact moment. Like, and everything is what is going in, what's coming out, what's on the thing. Boom, boom. You have so many tests a day, and if you don't, you'll hit the fucking, unless you can sometimes, especially after you've done the same formula 100 times, you'll get it dialed in. But if it's something new and you don't follow that fucking course, you'll crash and burn because you'll overdo it. But
I feel like we're working too hard too.
Yeah, well, there's no point, because the things already know how to do everything. Like, wait, you don't just, like, dude, they know way better.
You can stop putting chemicals in your plants and just let nature do its thing.
Well, is there anybody in Chatland who has a question for Tim McCormick, founder, president, CEO of Cultured Biologics, and he's wearing sunglasses?
Not to forget the sunglasses.
So if you have a question, feel free to shoot it up, and Mark will ask, and he will sound.
Shoot it up! Holy shit! Cop talk.
Hey, no.
You'll send it to Mark, and Mark will sound like he's not reading when he reads the question.
And they'll send it to me, and I won't be here in like 5 minutes. So
he's out of here. He's like, make him do as many. All right, send your questions in now so Mark can grumpily tell it to us, because that makes it much more fun.
I have to drive him now, so I'll be back.
What?
Yeah, he's gonna drive me, dude.
Yeah.
Driving
car,
you
dude.
to what? You don't have a
car, bro.
Yeah, you do. Don't start with your lies. I saw your car out there. I told you, we're the 20-year-old SUV crew.
Well, if anybody has any questions for Mark before he leaves to go watch the Nuggets game, please ask away.
No, ask away, and we'll get those questions.
Go Nuggets.
Yeah, we're good.
Oh, Nuggets. Did you ever leave work to go watch a sporting event?
I can't say I have.
Okay, just checking. Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby. Adam's checking for questions. Anything in there?
He's looking.
You guys should be
Mark
looking. It's
should
your
have-
job.
I'm looking. No, he's watching the pregame.
Oh no, exactly. Sorry, it's a Nuggets day. You're not allowed to think.
It's
I'm
okay.
I
This
think-
hasn't happened before.
I think that out of all this, out of the whole diatribe, I think the biggest takeaway is that we just need to be better stewards and understand what is going on and how we're.
I disagree.
affecting.
Okay, the first question is.
What do you mean?
It's nitrogen.
First of 10,000 questions.
Supports fracking.
Big
Yes.
brain on bread.
Tim, do you have a product for mycorrhizal activity?
I do. It's called Dr. Root. It's the one that Adam was just showing.
Okay.
The results of the
Mike Denver asked if we can get methane from Uranus.
dun, dun, dun.
I had to do that one. I'm sorry.
It's made of methane, isn't it?
Yeah.
You can from Mars. And mostly nitrates grow really
I
bad
saw
flower.
some contrasting opinions in the chat earlier, but they
what?
don't have any questions right now.
They gave up. Oh, they agreed.
I don't know. Maybe they do agree now. I don't
Wow,
know.
we've
But
neutralized.
there is some very
Dave,
contrasting
roll something up.
Dave, roll that up.
opinions within
Yeah.
Roll it up, Dave.
the chat.
Get to
So,
work.
if you guys have a question for him,
Well, also,
it in.
we can make this really topical too. If you put it in the cannabis world,
Dun, 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 dun.
what nitrates do to plants is it increases the water load, and that whole so just visualize the plant as a pie. There's only so many pieces of pie in there, and if you have, say, arbitrarily speaking, 50% water load, 50% plant sap, and that's what the pie is composed of. When the nitrogen salts increase the water load of the plant, the plant
Less
sap
bricks.
can't. The plant sap can't just increase.
Right.
There's a trade-off.
Sure.
So if water goes up, plant sap goes down, and that's just the general concept of what nitrogen salts do to the plant. And this is why whenever you chop flour down that's grown with nitrates, there's no flavor to it. You taste plant cells. You
Not only
taste,
that-
you taste cellulose.
not
You
only
taste
that,
like
but-
cardboard.
Interesting.
Not only that, but you get that thing that I tell people, like, I see people growing it on like DWC or on Rockwool, and I'll be like, wow, that looks impressive, And I'll be like, that's fucking nice. I'll be like, well, I'll talk to you the day after I'll talk to you like a week after harvest, and we'll talk about things. And then they'll usually sell it wet, so they don't give a fuck. You know what I mean?
Right.
So their numbers are higher than it should be because it didn't get it to like the real optimal weight. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because that's the kind of people that they were. But in general, the big bud that was fucking so bigger than your head is now like shrunk down to almost nothing. And on top of that, there's not, because it really comes down to when we're growing the leaf material to produce resin, which is the thing we're really trying to produce. right?
resin,
So-
oil production.
and you get the oil, and you'll just start to do those weights, and you'll see like some huge differences where like, holy shit, from this 1 pound of weed, I got more than 3 pounds of this weed in resin weight. You know what I mean? When you start
Right.
separating them, especially when you're making an extra, people figure it
Yeah.
out. That's why the whole washer,
Yeah.
which
Resin miners.
exactly. But but then it's also, if it's BHO or if it's water,
Bubble
it's going to be a
hash.
totally different thing
Yeah.
too, because you can't get those greasy,
Right.
those the best plants, the greasiest ones, the ones that are made to smoke like as a joint, are getting tossed now because they don't wash, bro. But it's the washers are actually the resin that it's desirable for that particular product, but it's not necessarily as the most desirable for the fucking head,
Right.
which is unfortunate.
Right.
I
Yeah.
get all these like weak ass strains out
Well,
there.
I find it so funny that the plant's composed of 44% carbon. It's 46% oxygen. It's 3% hydrogen. So that's 93% of the plant. And we're feeding plant heavy nitrate diets. It's like 90% nitrates. It's like, 50% nitrates. It's the ratio to what the plant is composed of to the amount of nitrogen and phosphate salts we're using. They don't add up. And that's why we have so much wastewater, and that's why there's so many like nitrates in the wastewater that goes back to municipals, because it's hit it with 3 to 5 EC and see what sticks.
Yeah.
And it creates really, really bad quality flour and makes everybody's flour taste the same because it's just
Well, that's what I've seen places where I've looked like I used to maybe back in the hydro days. I would carry my meters around with me because I'd be going to people's places and walking around, and I just like, when no one's looking, I go check their fucking shit and be like, oh my God, dude, you run this shit at 3.5 EC? They're like, yep, plants love it. I'm like, wow, dude, like, you don't need to run that high, you know? They just kept pounding it harder and harder and harder.
And they'll take
the
it.
thing is that's it. I mean, you could run it at 4 probably, and plants will, like, they'll look amazing in a weird way.
Yeah.
They'll
jam.
They'll be like
sure.
dark green. That's for sure. And they might yield like maniac. That's the thing is I've seen people where it's all about yield and they just don't give a fuck.
They don't care.
And I'm like, okay, I get it.
Yeah,
but
that's fine.
But the plant is stressed out like a motherfucker because it ain't expressing anything that it needs to. Because
its whole thing is produce oil, attract pollinators, right? Make a fragrance, and so there's oil bearing plants, you know. So we catalog them as oil bearing plants, and corn, soybeans are oil bearing plants. Cannabis is oil bearing plants, and both
the plant and the seed. So
yeah, the seed is oil bearing seed. It's still the same mechanisms that create the oils inside aromatic plants, and so what causes these aromas to be formed, and same with the cannabinoids inside the plant, the secondary metabolites, is enzymes, and it requires a slew of micronutrients and magnesium to make these reactions occur. So with all these,
bro.
with that's still magnesium nitrate.
I know,
so for as much as we're trying to use magnesium to promote oil synthesis within the plant, we're still adding nitrate, so the plant sap is going down. So plant sap is what contains all the amino acids, all the proteins, all the phenolic compounds, so it turns into THC, you know, lipids, fats, minerals, soluble sugars.
So we're not hallucinating when we say or when we think that fucking organic weed tastes better.
No, it does, because it has more carbon.
I knew it, but I'm just wondering why. What the fuck is that?
The Earth is the largest reserve of carbon in the entire universe. It's had millions and millions of years of carbon being pressed down and compacted.
We're the big daddies of the universe.
But we know better.
So the plant has evolved with a reservoir of carbon to it. So we've taken that plant out of the organic system, carried it over to an artificial system, put it in a soilless, inert substrate, and now we feed it high nitrogen salts when it's made of 44% carbon. And this is why organic cannabis grown in soil, always tastes better, because it has a larger reserve of carbon for the plant to use to form all these these primary metabolites, which is the cellulose, which is all carbon, and then the secondary metabolites, which is terpenes and cannabinoids, which are carbon-based. And they require a load of carbon, and same with the structure of the plant. The cellulose require the pith, the insides require carbon, and if the plant's low on carbon, it'll actually take it from old stalks, old part of the branches, and it will redistribute it to the growing tips, and that's why you get hollow stems. It's because the plant's low on carbon, or it doesn't have enough boron to transfer the carbon and the calcium to where it needs to go, so you get hollow stems. So the plants will always taste better and always grow better over a carbon reservoir like soil, and that's why they just naturally taste better, because you don't have the water load from nitrate salts in organic cannabis. That's the primary factor of why organic cannabis tastes better.
Well, it's not only the taste, it's also just really noticeable if you hold on to it for a little longer.
Right.
Like you keep.
Are you talking about retaining water?
No, but you keep.
Retaining
It's mostly the oils. It's like the
retaining
plants.
plant sap.
They just have more like they just have a better, longer lasting thing. Like I've had weed which has been grown hydro, and I've had plenty of times where it's just like it looks good, but it does not hold its
The rate of oxidation.
It goes quicker, way quicker.
So the other thing about nitrates, and we talked to us about this before, Dave, it causes cellular elongation, which essentially just means that cells are not reinforced. The cells are weak. And it makes fast-growing cells, but it makes weak cells. So after you pick it and after you harvest it, and this is why shelf life on produce goes down whenever you grow it conventionally under like nitrate salts and phosphate salts, is because the cells are weak. So naturally, when they're filled with all these fluids, they will start breaking down and oxidizing faster. So that's why conventional fruit, just like conventional grown cannabis, nitrate-grown cannabis, deteriorates faster because it oxidizes faster. The cells break down faster than organic cannabis because it actually has the cellular retention without the nitrates being used to grow it.
Uh-oh.
Have a good one, Mark.
Bye, Mark.
Bye,
See you
Mark.
later.
So let's just take a quick break here. So if for anyone listening in Florida, on Adam's birthday, Thursday, June 15th.
What's happening?
You can go to Hits and Giggles. It's with our friends at Octane Cannabis. They're throwing a comedy event.
Nice, Randy.
Headlining is Jeff Dye, who is quite funny. And you can go to on Instagram at Boca Black Box for their Hits and Giggles comedy event and get tickets. And you can actually, if you go down there, you'll get to meet the Sternbergs from Yo Tips, Yo Products, because they'll be down there too. So if you want to go laugh for a little while, and I believe it's a charity event, just head on down there. Hits and Giggles comedy event, headliner Jeff Dye in Boca. Swanky. Odie will be there because he's a Boca type of guy.
Boca kind of
There you
guy.
go.
He's a Boca kind of guy.
As I load my joint into the Yo Tip,
There you go.
what just happened? Like it sounded like something turned off. Oh, look, they're both gone.
Everyone left
Holy
us.
Fuck.
No,
this is taking time.
they're all
Mom.
gone. They all left us. Now, oh, look, go sit over there and make it look like official.
Really? Why didn't Odie drive him?
Yeah. Is he really driving him somewhere? No, he's not. His car's outside.
Oh.
He's just, you're tripping. You're tripping. I had something at the top right before you did
I
the Boca
distracted
thing.
you?
You fucked everything up.
I did.
You fucked everything up. Anyway,
Well, we could pay a bill or two right at the moment.
we're good. We're in a roll. I'm just giving him an update. I'm gonna let him go through the chat so now he knows what's up. Be like, all right.
Oh, you're turning him loose on the chat?
I let him get.
How
now
many
that-
Dave
I
comments
love
are
reading
there?
this. It's so good.
Don't get too lost in it, dude. I just wanted you to update yourself.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. I would gladly put carbon-based organic cannabis up to any salt. I would give you my own weed blind taste test.
Well, what I want to
gonna-
do. Okay,
we
so
can
this
do
is
a
okay.
Pepsi-
This is okay.
Pepsi
So
challenge.
here I'm gonna give you the Pepsi challenge right now, which is, I am making an offer to any nutrient companies out there that want to do this over the summer because
They won't
I
bite.
thought about it last year where I was like, hey, you know what? I got all these different nutrient company friends. I got buddies over at New Millennium. I've got you. We've got Microbe Life. We've got Miles. We got Jeremy. We got all these people that are doing stuff with nutrients in any way. And what I was thinking was if I take the same, so we get like a bunch of tomatoes, all the same cut. Just cut them all, make some bunch of cuttings. Give everybody the same ones at the beginning of the year, and then everyone comes back with their tomatoes, with their nutrients, and we have people come up and you cut them up, take a little bite. Everyone gets a little piece, and I swear to God, you do strawberries and tomatoes because those are two flavor profiles that everybody's very familiar with. Like you know what a good tomato tastes like,
Oh, yeah.
and you know the difference between that, like a homegrown tomato and a fucking store-bought tomato, and those are like pretty obvious. All store-bought tomatoes, 90% hydro.
Yep.
Gives you an idea of why they taste like they taste, right? Then you get the homegrown, why they taste so good. Right. Strawberries, same thing.
Yep.
You get these fucking amazing looking things and they have no flavor and you're just like, what?
Yep.
And then you get these other ones and you're just like, explosion of
Explode.
flavor. And so
I got to come
I think
clean for a
everybody
sec.
will. I think everybody will learn a lot. You know. So
You handed me that jar.
I did.
Right?
Yes.
And I put a nose to it.
Uh-huh.
And I handed it back to you.
you weren't that excited.
I didn't take a nug out of it. I reached for Adam's or Uncle Andy's slider.
Sure.
Okay? But then you said, roll this up.
Yeah, of course.
I didn't say a word. Politely, I put the slider back in the thing, and I rolled it up.
Uh-huh.
Holy fuck. Let me just say, it has been a while since I smoked something that... I'm not dinging you,
Yeah.
but it doesn't have the nose like this.
Sure.
Okay.
It has a Colorado
this,
dry.
This exploded.
That was
Like
in-
I
that was
wanted
in
to
a
ask if it
plastic
was
package.
haze, but I really didn't want to look stupider
Sure.
than I normally am. And this has a flavor profile where multiple nodes translating into the
Right.
smoke that
good. It's very good.
is wow.
Yep. You can pick out all the
Wow.
different microterpenes and all the different.
Yeah, especially this one's got a
microtastes.
good aftertaste too, which I love. That's like the last. Like most things don't have a taste, so the aftertaste is impossible because you'd have to have a first taste to have a second taste. But this one actually has like a kind of a weird rolling.
Yeah, it keeps going.
Yeah.
After you blow the smoke out, its flavor just keeps unwrapping.
Yeah.
Well, I think one of the reasons why we get along so well is because I don't do what he does and he doesn't do what I do to a point. But the consumption of cannabis is really back in 2010 when you had this intersection of legitimate business owners coming in being financed by somebody who says, I smoked a couple of joints in college. You know, they needed people like us to help truly translate the industry because it wasn't going to just mimic running a laundry or running an arcade or whatever it was. There wasn't anything in business past that you said, oh, we're just going to take this playbook out. It had to be all reinvented.
Right.
And this is truly exceptional.
Thank you.
Truly. What are we smoking?
We are smoking Magic OG. It is a Ghost OG cross to.
Ooh, Andy was getting me all pumped up on it. You got to get that cut, man.
So good.
Yeah. So
Should we offer some to the fucking butane
Did you get
heads
that
over
from
there?
him, or is that from somewhere else?
No, that's
'Cause
mine.
so he had another Magic.
So this is from Magic Beans. My homie Nick, good friend of mine.
Is he down south or?
He was in Oklahoma for a while. I think he's over in Missouri now.
Gotcha.
But he took the Ghost 92 OG and crossed it to a Star Killer male. I think the Mark Hamill cut, and this is the best OG. I swear.
Hamill.
Mark, what do you mean? Like Luke?
No, that's what they named the male, Mark Hamill.
I like that. That's good.
So it's a Star Killer Skywalker.
Does it have a
by
blue
Ray
lightsaber?
Yes. Do you have me? It's a Star Killer. Star
Okay.
Killer OG. So the reason why the flavors pop so much is because of the carbon base.
That thing always produces something really good.
Yeah.
The Star Killer. It's always funny. It's
No,
like
it's good.
It seems to
It's
be
good.
the.
And if you can hit the terps, if you can really produce them on there, it's some of the best tasting
Oh,
cannabis.
Nick,
in
get
the
to work.
market.
Look at Nick. You got customers, man. Get to work. He's missing out. I
You're
told him.
breaking
shake
the
him down.
fourth wall,
Shake him
talking
down.
to the people off camera.
Yeah, I don't want him to lose any money, man, on talkie sales.
Yeah.
He's got to double down on the talkies.
Oh my
No, he's
gosh.
teaching them. He's teaching them right.
I'm teaching him. Yeah, don't worry about the show.
Yeah.
Don't miss a sale, kid.
That stuff translates down the road.
But
a real
no,
dollar.
it's
So that's what I've realized with making this carbon-based fertilizer is a plant just has so much more carbon compared to nitrates because nitrates have 0 carbon in them. The plant has so much more carbon that it can actually synthesize into every single cannabinoid at once. So we're not just seeing an increase. So we've done a bunch of lab testing, right? So we had a Alpine dog, which is from Alpine Stash. Their facility stayed the same the entire time. They just switched to our product. All the lights stayed the same, the CO2, the soil, everything. The only thing that changed was our product line. And not only did Alpine dog register at 25% before that round, the second round using our stuff was 30%. And the cool thing about that, we didn't just see an increase in THC, we actually saw an increase of the spectrum, the CBCs, the THCVs, all the microcannabinoids started to pop with microfractions, and that's the olfactory sensation, like that's the whole high. So we stopped breeding for highs and started going for all these resinous plants and started doing this washing concentrate thing, and I think we went off track. And so, with the terpenes, it did the same thing too. Not only do we normally with like these synthetics, you'll see the plant prefer one enzyme or a slew of enzymes to make the terpenes. So then you get only one flavor or one smell. So it's like, okay, it smells like pine, or okay, it smells like lemons, and there's not much to it before or after. With what we're finding with these carbon-based nutrients is the plant's actually synthesizing a whole way balanced slew of terpenes. So you're getting, that's why you can taste all these micro terpenes, all these micro flavors, is because the plant is actually synthesizing a more rounded, a bigger spectrum of terpenes for the plant.
I hear our good friend Lance Lambert from Grove Bag saying, well, there's a marketing pitch that you need to get on paper. You are effectively selling nutrients for terpene production.
Yep, hash production too.
So that's
Oil production is what my product line is geared to. It's not going to give you the best yield. I'm not a nitrate-based product line. You'll never get the same yields because that's what nitrate does, is grow yields. You can put more nutrients in the plant. You can put more water in the plant. But you sacrifice the flavor. This is for people that want to grow the most oily, resinous, best tasting plants.
What's a good sort of comparison is look at mushrooms, right? You can grow big mushrooms or you can grow the same small mushrooms, but there'll be the same amount of psilocybin in both of those products. Like it just gets bigger. All the psilocybin is already synthesized,
right,
and it just expands, and now you got more meat on there, right?
Well, yeah, like I said,
which is like not what you're looking for.
No,
technically, you're looking for a much more concentrated product. And so,
I don't think it's so much we want a concentrated product. We want a standard product across the board so we understand what a uniform dose is.
Well, especially though with mushrooms, it's like, you want to eat less and get more. Really, that would be the most.
That is the way of life, right?
You don't necessarily want to sit down and get a portobello out and eat that when you could just have had a little tiny porcini. You know what I mean? Like it's like, what do you want? You want to eat that or you want to eat that? And
want to eat that? We want to eat that. We should ask Odie. I mean, it's as great a shape he's in, and we should get some tips from him. And
it's this guy over here.
He's sitting there. He's there in my visual. I can see him. Mark is gone. I can't pick on Mark.
I can't ding on Mark. I have to ding on Odie now. Jesus. Oh, leave Odie alone.
I can't help it. I love
It's like
him.
the Britney.
He
It's like
is
the Britney.
not-
It's like the Britney meme, except it's Odie. Leave Odie alone.
Odie's the only person I would ever feel okay if you ever put me up against him in a competition as to who was nicer and he won. I'd be like, okay, I can.
The nicer
take
contest. Those don't go down
Yeah.
very often. Those nicer
Yeah.
contests. Those guys always win last, right? Nicest guy finishes last. That's what they say.
No.
So it'd be the
that's not
opposite.
true.
So it'd be the opposite. Whoever would be the winner would
second
be the
place.
loser. Yeah, whoever wins is the loser. So.
After reading the comments too,
Oh,
I
yeah,
want to be
you
very
do.
clear. I want to be very clear. I'm not saying anyone's flower is terrible. Like it's not a slight at anybody. It's just science. It's just data. It's understanding what's actually going on.
So wait, let's go
And
back to where you
it's-
called everyone's flower terrible.
He didn't never said that.
What? He just no. Okay.
Can't say
No.
I did.
He's
Well,
not saying that. And
It's
don't
just-
take it
there's
personally.
been a missing link here that I don't think a lot of people have when it comes to one, where fertilizers are coming from, and two, why some plants taste better than others, and why some do.
Well, where
perform
I
better
jumped
than
in
others.
before was when you were saying like you lose something when you gain something else, which is
Right.
obvious. And
That's-
with
it's-
yield is always like that, right? I mean,
course.
have you? How often do you get the high yielding, super oily plant?
Yeah.
No, it's usually the high yielding, kind of
Usually
drier,
the biggest
and
bitch
then
of
the
a plant,
smallest,
finicky
most
plant
resiny.
is it gives you the best resin. You know,
Yeah,
or-
finicky, horrible to feed.
But if we weren't in such a regulated market where really the gauge of success is how much you sell,
Right.
we would be able to not try to change what is already working and take that plant that is giving you everything you want with the exception of yield and try and say, well, I need more yield.
Right.
And then you fuck things up. It found its equilibrium. It found what worked for it.
Right.
There's a reason why nature has been around for far longer than we've been able to fucking talk about it. You know, just like you said, we were in the ocean.
Yeah.
And right, Adam eats fish simply for that matter because they can't say "ow" to him, you know. So that's that. I understand that, but no one is telling a nitrogen-based grower that your weed sucks. We're just telling you that you support fracking.
Ooh, and they suck.
It's true.
And fracking sucks, that's for sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but it's true.
Yeah.
And whether we realize it or not, you know, a lot of it's ignorance. A lot of it's people don't care, and that's fine. That's totally cool. If that's your game, you just need something that works. You know want to crank out the yields. That's fine. That's your game. But that's why the industry exists.
But that's what the industry wants right now. When somebody walks into a dispensary, they don't ask what tastes the best.
No, of course not.
They look for that
Cheapest.
THC number.
The cheapest and the most highest.
The most and the
Yeah.
cheapest, and
Yeah.
that's what they walk out with. And even some of our friends in the industry who have legitimate sales retail shops have had to cater to this clientele.
Absolutely.
And even at some of the best places, they will have, hate to even say it out loud, but like a $75 ounce. Some even cheaper.
Some even cheaper.
You know,
Oklahoma.
and it's come to a point right now where I don't fault anybody as long as it's safe to smoke,
Yeah.
and you list on the package what's in it. That's fine by me. I don't fault anyone right now. Look
No, of
how
course not.
the bottom has dropped out of this market.
And yeah, absolutely. I think it comes down to education. Like people, it's just we're in such a new industry. I think everybody forgets that. Like we've been having to hide underneath the fucking rug for so fucking long that this industry is very, very new.
He's sitting with us.
You like that?
Great job, Vin. Yeah.
Oh wow, Van! Look at you creeping
That was
up on
good.
us, creeping up on you, creeping up.
But I think we're learning a lot of new things these days, and I think that's why I said at the beginning, it's important to keep your mind open. It's important to understand that evolution is occurring all the time in the technology sector with cannabis, with ag. I see this all the time with ag, where they're desperately trying to keep the negative feedback loop going, but now they're actually looking for different answers. They're looking for something more sustainable these days, and specifically over in the EU, and it's going to come here. They're already mandating like 35% of their produce being grown with organic fertilizers, organic products by 2030, by 2035, and that's going to come over here too. And you know, regulations are what regulations are, but in a sheer fact of being a steward of the earth, being a steward of this plant, you know, there's better ways to do it than just throwing a bunch of nitrates on there.
but
And
the ag industry has been an industry for over 100 years,
Oh, yeah.
150. I mean, maybe even longer than that. We are not an industry when we still have people suffering and being arrested over this plant.
Yep.
I used to make the joke back in 2011 at conferences when these suits and ties would come up to me and they go, "Dave, where do you think we are in this industry?" And I'd make some joke. I'd go,
Down the tubes, in the shit, down the gutter.
I'd go, you know what? There's a lot of game to play. We're probably in maybe the bottom half of the first or the top half of the second inning. And they'd all go, "Oh, that's great. Where do we sign up?" You know, I mean, they're just looking to invest in the industry.
Yeah.
But that was so wrong.
Yeah, you were just lying
That
through
was
your teeth.
so
Lying
wrong.
through your teeth.
We are today. So that was 12 years ago. We are today, like standing with Abner Doubleday, and he came up with the idea of baseball. You know, that's how early we are. We are not an industry
I think
yet.
we're a little further than that, but
No, I don't think we
we're like
really
a minor leagues.
are.
Come on, we're some minor leaguers right now.
I don't think so. Not when there is no mechanized production. There's,
I mean,
won't take it-
I was going to
currency
say, well,
from it.
that's how people are going to look at it. Like, until it goes federal, we're not really
Yeah.
started.
Yeah.
And so we're still in the, 100% Wild
Credit
West.
unions here in Colorado are just now starting, like past year or two, using allowing debit cards. You know, allowing you actually just use their banking system for cannabis. It's still illegal most freaking places.
Yeah,
you know?
and we joked about this ad nauseum. That really it took New York. New York is finally the one state that they're going to have tons of problems,
Right.
but the consumption side of it is what drives acceptance.
Right.
If you get to buy it and you got to go hide, like we do in Colorado, there isn't general acceptance.
Right.
In New York, it's going to be accepted. There were times where people just got pissed at cigarette smokers all the time. Now nobody gives a fuck. Go outside. You know, we all share the space. The wind will blow. You're outside. No problem.
Oh, I know all about that.
And with cannabis, to have a state lead like that is
Yeah.
fantastic. And I know they're going to say, well, Oklahoma did it too, but it's Oklahoma. You know, so what can I say? So still nothing? No, Elka, I thought, had a question or a statement.
Should we get Brandon on?
Yeah, Brandon's ready. If he's ready, yeah, we can jump on.
Yeah, why not?
Boom.
We can check out what South Dakota's going on.
Hold on a second. Can I smack Vinny?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Oh, you could backhand him. Yeah, back. Another way. Yeah. Yeah, back. Yeah. Smack back. Smack back. Oh, yeah. Oh, look at that. Fight. It's very weird.
Hold on, I'm going to pick his nose.
What are we supposed to be?
You're picking his nose now?
Oh, you can pick your friends.
By the
and
way-
you can pick your nose, but you can't pick your friend's nose. Except on camera.
Except for Vinny. Oh, he's up in there. I'm up in there. You got to close one finger and do that.
Too late, he moved.
Yeah, never mind. Marionette.
Yeah, we do have a video component if you listen to us on SoundCloud.
There's a lot of exciting things happening right now. You just
Yeah.
you can't see.
He has sunglasses on.
So can you present evidence to the contrary of from your company that had the 25 to 30% increase?
Oh, yeah,
Can you
you
get
bet.
copies of that?
Yeah.
Hold on.
We tested over 15 varieties.
Who's that?
Cool. So maybe
anywhere from we
Lars,
increased THC
Lars
in
needs
tablets anywhere
Lars
from,
needs evidence. He don't
I'd
believe,
gladly show you, man.
He's like, I don't got.
I'll make an IG post about it. How about that?
Okay, cool.
He's
So-
wearing
hold on a
sunglasses.
second.
Why would you not
Follow me on
believe him?
IG.
They
How
can't
could you
see
not
you
believe
but
a guy
start
like this?
talking. They're there for you.
Who's that, Brandon?
Yes.
Okay,
Hi,
cool. Hey,
Brandon.
Brandon,
I'll
what's
figure
going
it
on?
out in a
buddy?
second.
Yo, what's up, guys? Much love. Thanks for having us.
Oh yeah, welcome.
Thanks for coming in last minute, as we always do. We like to surprise our guests. Don't give them any time to prepare. No time to prepare.
I love it. I always fly off the seat of my pants anyways. That's the way you stay the most honest.
Nice. Yeah. Well, the reality is, every time I try to plan a guest too far ahead, it never works out. It's always like something comes up in between or whatever. But if I call them the night before, they got no excuses. They're like, dude. So. Cool. Well, welcome to the show. And it was funny when I was looking up, because at first, when I was trying to figure out to make up the flyer, and I'm sure I'm not the first person to say this to you, but I was all like, typed it all out, and I went back and I looked, and I'm like, oh, wait a minute. It's not manager. It's manager, and he's not the manager. That is his name. I was like, all right, I got it all wrong. Let me just skip that entirely. I'll pull that out. So I don't get it wrong. But so it's Brandon Manager, right?
Manger,
Or
actually.
Manger. Sorry, yes.
Yeah, I get it all the time. I'm also the manager. I deal with all the girls at the farm supply store the
That's
same
funny.
way. They're
So
like,
you are the
You're
manager."
the manager.
That is
Well,
funny.
it's actually Manger, but yes, I am the manager too. So
It's a dual purpose name. It's a dual purpose name now. So that's cool.
we just roll with it, man.
Yep. Sounds good.
We all dig the beard, by the way. I mean, shit. It's
so righteous.
Damn.
Hey, a little bit of cultured biologics, hot sauce, beef jerky, and poor life decisions will get you here, man.
Plus, he's got the redheaded gene, and I've always said, like, redhead's got some little tricky gene which for hair growth.
You know what though?
Not the top of the head. No. Well, there you go.
Come on, dude. I'm Polish. Shout out to the Slominski family.
Polish
I'm
on top,
Polish.
and
I had a buddy out on the West Coast always try calling me a ginger, and I was like, my grandpa's mom is gonna beat your ass because she told me that's Polish genes. He said, well, if you're not a ginger, what the hell are you? And I said, well, consider myself the Calico Crusher, blonde, red, black.
Hey, when it goes quick, because 6 months ago I was just as red as yours was. It was probably a year ago.
I believe it.
Yeah. Just working on this show will do that to you. Just it drains you of all pigment.
I guarantee it.
So, are you a South Dakota native, or where you from originally?
Yeah, man. South Dakota native, fourth generation agriculture base.
Nice.
That's kind of where me and Tim really hit it off. Was I've seen what commercial agriculture has done to our land. I've watched really nice university agriculture buildings get put up, slapped with nice company name tags on them. You know, I've seen agronomists paid off to preach the good word of synthetics, and I've also worked the ground enough to see what those do, and that's where me and Tim hit it off, because he gets it. His mind, his morals, everything's in it for the right reason, and that's why I'm here. That's why I'm on the show right now.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
I mean, you really should have shown up with those sunglasses on, though, just to complete the look.
He's got the
Oh, he's got
I can
glasses.
do it. I can do it.
Here we
He's ready to
go.
roll.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, boom.
Bam.
Little Method 7 action.
Okay. Now,
There we
you
go.
Everybody
shall
who
receive.
represents culture should have the glasses.
Is that a cultured thing? Ooh, cultured sunglasses. Putting that one in the book.
There you go.
But they got to be aviators.
But you got to get sponsored by Costa, Tim. Shout out to Costa Sunglasses. Maybe we could pick up a sponsor off of this.
Hell yeah.
Give me their number.
North
Turn
Magic.
me loose.
It's like, oh, sponsor. Yeah, I like to hear that.
Yeah.
So fourth generation. What was the main what were you guys mostly focused on? What was the crops that were grown up there?
Out here in the Dakotas, my mom's family's from the Red River Valley up in northeastern North Dakota, anywhere from beets, potatoes, soybeans, corn, sunflowers, sorghum, wheat. I don't think I'm forgetting anything from that rotation. And then beyond that, I found cannabis. It saved my life a few times, and I really delved into the cannabis growing experience. Probably, goddamn, what year is it? 2023. I'd say for about 20 years now, I've been involved on the cultivation side of things, and that's where I'm at. Is trying to bring.
And was your family supportive of it, or was because I mean out there the politics weren't really pro cannabis up until recently? Huh?
My mom's family super supportive of it, 100% Polish, bunch of outlaws.
Right, I was gonna say anything that makes money, and right.
My dad's family, however, my dad was the only person not involved in law enforcement. He was involved in on the fire side of things, but a lot of them are civil servants, and I may just be the black sheep of the Manger family, but you know what? I'm going to keep the name just to be able to try to change that tide when it comes down to it, because cannabis is not a bad thing.
Yeah,
No.
It's a good thing.
And what is the climate like for cannabis in South Dakota? Is it medical, recreational?
Both extremes. Both extremes. We just figured out that we could actually grow year long in the state. I survived 3 blizzards in my greenhouse. We installed some geothermal earth battery work. There was one day over one of the 3 blizzards. It was -60 outside temp with wind chill.
That sounds really nice.
Is that a problem?
That sounds
70
lovely.
72 degrees inside the greenhouse.
That's awesome.
yeah.
That's awesome.
My
Wow.
highest propane allotment for one day was 32 gallons, which, you know, I mean,
It's not bad at all.
It's not. No.
either here or there, not that bad. I factored it into our run, and it maybe took 3 pounds of pot taken to market to pay for a propane bill.
There you go.
Right. That's
Not
awesome.
a big deal when
That's
you're
awesome.
crushing it.
Yeah, when it's 60 to below, yeah, that is definitely fucking efficient. So that's
It's
awesome.
60 below. That's when you would walk outside with a cup of coffee, throw it in the air, and it just instantly evaporates, right?
Good. I mean,
Yeah.
it fucking hurt to be outside, man. And this was our first cycle off of our project. So we had a few issues with like thermostats and shit. Spent 14 nights in my pickup flipping a breaker before every HVAC company in the area was exhausted, and I had to get back down to my Polish family farming skills and figure out what the fuck was going on. So yeah, it took a lot to get over the winter, but I'm really confident for next winter because I think I've found every issue that we ran into this winter. So we're gonna do it.
You broke every.
Oh,
you
don't
broke,
say that.
you broke most everything you can break, right? That's always.
That's the only way you get good at things.
Yes, sir.
You gotta fuck it up.
So
Yeah.
I guess to tell people what you're doing in South Dakota, like what's going on Terp Ranch. What is it? What do you guys got going on now? What are you guys setting to do?
So the Terp Ranch has a model where we appreciate the land. We grow sustainable, regenerative, ag-based cannabis. We're living soil. We're organic. We're all CDFA approved, other than your products, Tim, because I know that you're not comfortable spending the money to pay for something that's a marginal fucking status.
All of our materials are. We just got to go through the process.
That's where I agree with you. You know, is like it costs so much money to get that
It's pay to
label,
play.
and when other people are able to get that label and have such lesser quality content on their products, why would you?
Right.
So yeah, we're all living soil, organic. We utilize the sun when we can. We utilize the things from the earth that the earth provides to be able to produce real sun-grown medicine.
Oh yeah.
Supplemental light. We're basically an indoor spec when we have to be, but when we can be, we roll with the punches.
Sure. What you got a greenhouse going on? You guys building more greenhouses?
Yeah, so right now we got one completely dialed in greenhouse with where our market is. Basically, I've determined we don't need to try to scramble and get a bunch more employees and get more structures set up, because with where our one greenhouse is on 4 harvests a year, we can supply what we need to the people. We have an amazing new project coming out this summer, and we've kind of been holding off on talking about it because there's a lot of competition and stuff in the state, but you will see in the near future that we're going to have upwards to almost an acre of outdoor plants.
Hell yeah.
And we are going to be coming for those competitors that are out of state, bringing out of state money into our state, claiming that they're from here. I'm coming for you. Because why? I'm a 4th generation farmer. I love the people, and the people need access to the medicine.
Yes.
And that's what I'm here for.
What is the population of South Dakota like?
2,056.
Oh my God. You guys got a Google guy like Joe Rogan does?
Normally.
No, he's at the basketball
He
game.
just left for basketball
I
game.
would
He's at the
say
Nuggets games.
we're comparative to the city of Portland.
There you go.
Nice.
Yeah, there you go. Which is like what? Not very much.
Portland's 10,000.
No, it's like a
No.
No, it's several million.
Yeah.
6 million.
What's the political climate there? Like, is it era cool with weed
That's
now?
how you fucked up. You said-
How's the state? I know
Political
that-
climate
Yeah.
fucked up. We went to many commission meetings in Butte County. They have a nice anti-weed Nazi group called We the People. They're patriots trying to protect the children. They tried to convince everybody that we were going to drain the lake. If they were going to allow cannabis farms, they were going to drain the lake.
Oh my!
From water usage?
So I actually, water usage.
God.
I spoke at a commission meeting in December, did a bunch of homework, talked to National Resource Conservation District, talked to our irrigation district, did a shitload of homework, fact checked everything, provided solid numbers. Each greenhouse that I put up and run that annually is equivalent to a 50 head cattle operation, which is basically a hobby farm.
Yeah.
So
which is easy for them people out there to understand. They're like, oh, okay, 50 head of cattle ain't shit, because they're all competitive on the cattle, I'm sure. Like, you got what? 50 head of cattle? You ain't nothing.
Yeah, that's North Dakota.
You're just a fucking joke. You know what I mean?
I pulled up, it was a USDA ag census to figure out how many cattle are in the county, and it was like, holy shit, dude, there's fucking 15 times more cattle here than there are people comfortably. And I mean, we're all about conservation, you know? I mean, we're not trying to blow through as much water, and anything that we can do to save water, fuck yeah, we're about.
Yeah.
All day, every day.
Yeah, we should.
That's a really easy number to knock out too, because it's like the amount of land needed for cattle. If you really want to properly do it, it's only like two head of cattle per acre or something. You know, the numbers are not. It's like, so you start talking crazy numbers of like, oh, I got 1,000 head of cattle, so that means 500. So you start talking about the amount of land needed and the amount of, and then look at that with the amount of water usage, and then all of a sudden take a grow, which produces, you know, an actual product that moves on a daily basis compared to, you know, a year-long harvest once a year.
Right.
So, yeah.
Right. No, it was a really wild thing to like dive into, but somebody had to do it here because the threats were just exponential. It's like, Jesus Christ, if I believed in half of this, I'd probably tank the industry too if I had the chance.
Drain the lake? No way. You know, it's like,
Drain the lake. Our irrigation district divvies out almost 29 billion gallons of water per year to service 53,000 acres. They were actually, fun little fact, our irrigation district was the first irrigation district in our country. It was built primarily off of horse and plow.
Wow.
So we got a lot of old timers, a lot of people that don't understand things. One good thing is one of our loving investors that believes in me, tried and true. She has a steakhouse in Belfouche, and I go in there and I get to talk to the old boys, you know, the ranchers, and they don't understand what's going on. I tell them, well, this is what we're doing. This is what we can make per acre where we're going. This is what I use for water. This is what I use for feed. And I told them, eventually, 10-year cycle, we're going to get into a closed loop system on our 50 acres to where we're able to say, fuck these grocery stores, fuck this commercial ag that hasn't proven to do anything but harm us. Our plan on the Terp Ranch is to step back 100 years and establish things back to where they used to be.
Beautiful.
Homesteading, growing food
That's
for
what it's about,
quality.
man. Absolutely.
Brandon, there was a
Growing
question
medicine.
from the chat gang. They asked, where is South Dakota? Oh,
South
see, that
Dakota?
joke didn't go over very well. I thought that was going to be a good one.
Oof, Dave.
You look at the big
No, I had to
map,
look it up.
kinda
It's
in
right
the
above
middle of the big
Nebraska.
map, and it's
geography.
slightly south of
Not the truth.
Canada.
Canada.
Yeah, right there.
I only insulted about what? Your population of South Dakota is 2,700, you said earlier? What was it?
It's small.
It might be 1,500. I'm not sure.
Yeah. No. What is it? I mean, I'm very curious.
Get a phone right there. Look at that. You have
I
all
don't-
the.
I don't
You're making
wanna-
him work.
You have the
He's the
knowledge at
guest.
your
Somebody has
fingertips.
to have access to a Google.
Hold on, here we go.
No.
I'm scared if I
What's the
exit.
population of South Dakota?
There
Thank
you
you,
go.
Siri.
Look at
It's like
that.
maybe 2 million.
No, 886,000.
No way.
There we go.
That is fucking low. That's like less than Amsterdam, less than any small metropolitan city, pretty
So-
much. I mean, that's a whole state.
Yeah, so that
Damn.
small state hates cannabis but has been growing hemp for a while. Is that what? And where is
Well, the problem is, I'm sure a
what's-
lot of them lost their fucking shit on hemp, and now they're looking at it as a kind of like, really? Now we're going to do this stuff? Realizing that it should have been, the other way around, and or people just all shot themselves in the foot because they actually should have grown industrial hemp like they should have from the day one, and they would have fucking crushed
And it's coming around. My good buddy Jess Wright out of Pierre, he started growing some industrial hemp, working on some projects with my buddy Julian Andrews, Deschutes Labs out of Prineville, Oregon. Our biggest task right now is to figure out how we can grow hemp with as little bit of human interaction as possible.
Cool.
Farmers like to work
let me see
hard
what
for
I
a
wrote.
month, and then they like to
That
go
was you?
sit at a coffee shop.
Oh, I said it was Dave.
So we're working on
Killed it.
figuring out how to mechanize things and direct seed to sow. So there's within the next 5 years, I'll probably be able to figure something out to where we start putting hemp into the rotation on some of these crops, because we don't need to grow seed for birds, and we don't need to grow ethanol. Like, we need to feed people. We need to make things work.
We had an old friend. He used to preach that paper, fuel, and fiber. From
Oh, that guy.
hemp.
I remember that guy.
He was a crotchety guy at times, and he liked to eat a lot of acid. But he was really all about paper, fuel, and food, fuel, and fiber.
And
it's-
medicine. It was in there,
Yeah.
but it was like at the end. It wasn't even the least amount. But yeah.
Well, there's a.
It's
Rest
kind
in
of
peace,
crazy.
Jack.
I might have some seeds from that old crotchety guy,
They probably came from Adam, pretty much. So,
Oh, maybe.
Maybe a few years down the line, we're so busy building out and trying to really push our quality over quantity right now that a breeding program will be established, and I'm really looking to the old heads and people of the mountain to be able to step back from that bottleneck, and then we can start breeding again for effect.
what are you running right now?
Right now, man, we got a slew. My buddy Nate, Sierra Living Organics. I'm running a lot of his cherry lines. Also, Rising Moon Medicinals out of Michigan. Super cool company. They're all native soil, open pollination. Northern Michigan kind of lines up with where we're at as far as humidity, cold, extreme temperatures. So we're running a lot of sour and chem crosses. I got pine sap chem, sour soul, sour chem diesel. I got some Afghani lines that he was pushing. Beyond that, I got a couple ethos that I found one fucking ethos out of a million.
Whoa.
Pollen OG, it's a deadhead, the white reverse back cross. Dude,
Old deadhead.
I got it right here. Like,
Oh, this wants me to. I want to ask.
we just had terpene testing come live like a couple months ago, as before my first cycle was done, but I don't even know if this is gonna work here.
Just try to stay
There's the
still. Try to
logo.
stay still. I know it's hard.
I'm just gonna tell you right now, it smells exactly like a grape creamsicle taste.
Oh God!
Hell yeah.
And it just like makes my mouth water. I think I have a boner right now. Like, I don't even know what to do with myself when I open this jar.
Nice.
So super stoked. And
looks like a producer
and
too.
A big thing was like, I'm running living soil and just all raw amendments, right? And like, this is where I really hit it off with Tim. Was about week 5, week 6, I'd start to run into like slight calcium deficiency. And it's like, man, you try to overload gypsum, whatever, that it takes a long time to fucking break down, right? And also, like, through my experience running raws, you don't want to overload with raws towards the end because your flavor is going to be fucked. I'm a connoisseur through and through, and with Tim's product, I'm kind of running like a hybrid living soil. So week 5, I taper off of my organic raw amendments, and then I transition over to Tim's bloom program, and it was night and day fucking difference.
Nice.
It's also helped me with sticking to like my re-amending programs and shit, because I'm able to dwindle down what I have in the soil. So what I'm reloading with, I can stay more consistent, because I run a lot of Mr. B's Green Trees, NorCal Nutrients, shout out. So it's enabled me to stay more balanced on my soil profile as I use up what's in there, finished on cultured, finished what's already pre-chelated, like broken down, readily available. We finish them on that. And some of these strains, I'd say half of the strains I ran in the first cycle to the second. This second cycle, the same strains I ran from the first, they're noticeably different. They went from being kind of sticky to right now they're just greasy. I mean, they're almost disgusting. Good. If you didn't look for disgusting terps and things that made you really stand back and say, what the fuck is that? Like, you'd be weirded out. But there's been a noticeable difference with switching to cultured just to finish in that 2 to.
What's that?
We're not on.
Are we
Yes,
on?
you are.
Oh, we are? Okay, good.
So,
Okay, I'm just checking. Mine's not. Oh, no, you know.
do you know? Tell me about South Dakota's medical law. Is it a restrictive law, or does it include pain? How does one become qualified? And the question I really have is, will my medical card be accepted in South Dakota with any type of reciprocity?
So they will not, at this point, they will not accept medical cards from another state. So it's not, you couldn't drive up from Colorado and come here and get in. You'd have to go through the verification process. But it's fairly open. It's also fairly conceited. We just had a new session. PTSD was added to it, which I think was a big deal. We have a lot of vets in the state. It's been really hard to get people access. It's kind of coming around now, and I believe in the process. It is taking time. I mean, we're a bunch of gun-toting, conservative, Republican, farmers, ranchers, all of that. But over the last year that our program's been opened up, we've seen a lot of people transition from a handful of pharmaceuticals in the morning and night to be able to sleep. Still didn't work, into maybe a gummy or half a toke at night. And
half a toke is it's hard to do, but yes,
one toke over the line. You gotta keep her down under one toke, otherwise you go over the line.
It's a full toke you just did there.
It's like saying I'm going to make you half a sandwich.
Yeah.
No, you're not.
Just a small sandwich. Just one small sandwich is actually a half sandwich.
No, you're not.
Man, this is great.
No, I love what you're
I'm
doing out
having
there,
fun.
man.
I hope you guys are having fun.
Dude,
we always have
thank
fun.
you so much for coming on. You're a true warrior of this earth. I appreciate you. You're doing some God's work out there. Thank you, man. Like,
Yeah,
you
that's
guys,
what
you
we
guys are
gotta
crushing
do,
out
man.
there. Truly.
It's also dealing with, you're in a spot where people are not super responsive out of the gate, but when you help their grandma or their cousin or, then all of a sudden they're like, holy shit, because they don't even know. That's the thing I've always said about cannabis. People don't know they need it until it comes to them, and all of a sudden they're like, holy shit, I've needed this for so long, and that's usually the case.
What it's coming to is like all these so I'll draw a picture right now. Like there's all these little old ladies whether they're cancer ridden or they all have health issues. You know, they're coming into our dispensary and they're like, oh my God, I ate half of one of those edibles and I had the best sleep I've ever had in 35 years. And now I've been watching that snowball to where their husbands are starting to take them. And they were some of the most anti-weed people in our country. And they're like, holy shit, this is what it was.
Mm-hmm.
It was the same thing with my mom. I lost my mom, God rest her soul, in 2017 to cancer. And that was, I still to this day, I'd fight to the death. It was commercial ag caused.
Yep.
My mom, I mean, she was always cool with me being who I was, and she was my biggest supporter. My dad, on the other hand, you know, I mean, being from a family of law enforcement, he never got it until my mom was sick, and we were treating her with other remedies. And my dad looked at me one day when my mom was up and moving and shouldn't have been, and he was like, Jesus Christ, this is what you were doing the whole time you moved to the West Coast, and you're out there and you're fucking getting your name in the paper in the wrong way. This is what you were doing that for? He was like, holy shit, man. You need to do this on a bigger scale.
You watch the worm turn for him,
amazing.
man. That's so beautiful.
That's incredible.
It is, and it's unfortunate that it takes witnessing someone else's relief from just pain, right? You're in pain,
right?
And now you're not in pain.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a concept that the other side is just getting, because they always associated it with the hippie burnout stoner, you know, anarchist, the people who fought against their family members who were standing up in law enforcement like your family was, and they don't realize that we're all on the same team. We all have pains at night. During the day, I have it's so funny, but we tell this story all the time. It is so common to us all right now when we weren't allowed to talk about it in the past. And now, just hearing that, maybe the worm will change for someone else. Mm-hmm. And
exactly. I couldn't agree more. I mean, it's a sad place when politics puts a dividing spike between people that all they do is care about their people. You know, I mean, we need to bridge that gap. And the way that I do that is I believe in my nutrient programs. I believe in Tim. I believe in Pat, the Soil King, Mr. B's Green Trees, everybody that gives a shit about where they're sourcing their materials and how to properly source those materials so we can guarantee that it's the cleanest aspect. There's only one talk at a bar between me and a rancher that's been against it their entire life, or one talk at a breakfast spot in town with a cup of coffee with me and another old guy that's always thought it was a devil's lettuce.
Right.
That will bridge that gap. And that's what we're doing here in South Dakota is like, hey, we're all ag. We understand this shit, but you don't trust half of the government. So let's have a real talk, and let's look at things that actually work and benefit people. And it's kind of a surprising place to be in South Dakota right now, because it's either black or it's white, but I'm somewhere in the middle trying to mix colors.
Yeah,
That's awesome, man.
cannabis does that to people, man.
it works.
It
It's
really
definitely
bridges.
it's the great connector in that sense, and then it definitely, I think, also it's about getting. People have been fed a lot of misinformation, obviously, right? So it's going to cause crime. It's going to cause this. It's going to cause that. And the thing is, it never does, right? It does in Oakland, for instance. Oakland, it causes crime because people are breaking into places, driving cars through it at night, thinking that they're going to get weed or whatever. But that's in a place that's out of control. It's already out of control.
They're already breaking laws.
And so, but in a place like where you're at, where it's just like ag people, they should pretty quickly see that nothing changes except, oh shit, there's a new school. oh shit, there's a new this. You know what I mean? Because it'll bring money pretty quickly, and hopefully, that's the key to. I always tell everybody is like if you do anything, especially if you're in a place that's like not totally into what you're doing, go right away and fucking donate money to like the right people and build whatever they need for them at the same time.
The businesses love us. We've done everything to keep all the money we spend as local as possible. Businesses love us. I walk in first name basis. And the other thing is like beyond the business aspect, all these old ranchers, they just haven't been given the right amount of knowledge from the right source.
Right.
And that's what we need to do is educate people on it's cannabis.
Yeah, there's
it's
stories.
Another plant we grow from the ground as nature directed, and it does really good things.
It's a part of ag, brother. You know, like they have to understand that cannabis is agriculture too. Hemp is agriculture too. Like me coming from the ag world, like your family coming from the ag world, like this plant is just another commodity that we grow and we benefit from it, whether from money or. From
the funny part about it, I think its downfall from the beginning was that it's a tough motherfucker. You know what I mean? Like it's always been a tough motherfucker. So I think what happened was when they saw an opportunity to not have to deal with that particular plant, nobody really pushed back as hard as they should have because they weren't seeing. They thought, oh, there's better things out there and easier. And this plant, because it's a beast. You know what I mean? It rips things up, it breaks stuff. It's like it's not the gentle, beautiful.
It is.
It's not alfalfa. It's not like alfalfa. You go in, you cut it down, and you're done. You know what I mean?
It's so misconstrued, man. Like people
tough.
think, oh yeah, a bunch of pot growers are coming in. They're just gonna go reap the rewards. Fuck no.
Right.
I worked just as hard as I did on a commercial farm, if not harder. The only difference is like ranching. Ranching is every single day of the year. You have to be there. You got to make sure nothing's fucked up.
Yeah.
Right? Cannabis, the only difference between cannabis and ranching is your plants won't run away from you.
You don't get called by the neighbors and telling, hey, your fucking plants are again. They broke out the gate
difference.
again. Motherfucker, I got to tie that gate up.
They might be a little easier to harvest too.
Blocking traffic.
No, it's true. Well, that's we've always said that as growers. Like that is one of the things you learn pretty early on is that you have now limited your ability to go anywhere because if you think you're going to go somewhere, you better either be in between cycles and be able to shut her down, which none of us can do because we're all on this. You know, we have never-ending moms.
It's a lifestyle, man.
And so that,
it's a lifestyle, quickly. And it's a decision we all make. And
I mean, now you can talk to people at least. At least now you can talk to people about it. Before it was like, not only can you not go on vacation very often, but you cannot talk to anybody about what you do and be proud about what you do. And that was always made it hard because
I spent many years of my life feeling like I had to be James Bond.
Yep.
And it's pretty fucking cool to be here on a worldwide platform.
Right.
I said fuck it in
the shit I do every day.
Hell yeah.
In 2012, I said fuck it. I am never going back to the corporate world, and I listed my cannabis job on LinkedIn. I felt like that was a big thing. I actually thought the moment I listed, it was subject matter expert for Calyx Development. We had raised over $60 million, and we're buying real estate only to lease to cannabis operators. I thought the moment I put that up there, LinkedIn was going to take my account down, and they didn't. And ever since then, I just said, I'm not playing by that anymore. We have an opportunity right now to truly make a difference. And I started telling stories about people who had true benefits to their lives from this plant. And I mean, I remember it, man. My friend, I won't say his name, he runs one of the largest equipment companies in the United States. They sell these huge pieces of construction equipment. Okay, it's a multi-billion-dollar company. And he was telling me a story about his wife. And he didn't say that. He said his bride. That's how much they were still in love. They're married like 46 years.
Wow.
My bride. 46 years later, he's still saying my bride. Wow.
That's what he said. That's how much in love he was with her. And he said every morning he had to wake up before her to leave the room because she was in such pain getting out of bed every day just from life that it became so difficult to watch her in pain like that. And I told him at the time, I said, you know, have you ever tried cannabis for her? And they're like, oh, it's illegal here. We can't do that. I said, well, how about CBD? And I literally drove him to a place. We got him some CBD. His wife started taking it. And the next morning, she got out of bed without complaint.
Wow.
I mean, so it
That's
doesn't
really cool.
necessarily work that way for everyone.
Sure.
But for her, it really did. It filled a void in her endocannabinoid receptor system. And to this day, we talk about that conversation, that it was truly life-changing for them. And it can be that way for everyone. And you're going to do that, Brandon, because is he frozen or is he looking at something? But there's 886,000 people in South Dakota. You have a real chance to make a true difference. I mean, to make a difference in a lot of people's lives.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he's showing us green.
And that's, you know, like my mom, the last conscious, like, meeting and like being around her was she had her third PET scan. She had been on cannabis oil treatment for a month and a half. She had her third PET scan. And she told me she was fucking worked over that day, but she told me, son, they did this PET scan and everything shrunk 2/3 in size. Awesome. She's like, I think we might have this dialed in between alkalizing my blood through all these hippie smoothies you're giving me and all this cannabis oil. She's like, I think we're winning, but you need to go back and keep doing what you're doing, because whether or not you help me get to the end and win, you're going to help so many more people. And
that's beautiful.
It was a tough thing, man. I mean, it was 2012. I got busted hard.
Yeah.
I spent 3 weeks in my house. I didn't want to go out because I knew I was spotlight for the community, you know. And my mom was the one that called me and she said, son, in this world, there will be people that will never be impressed with what you do. Fuck those people. Continue doing what you're doing because you're in it for the right reasons. You're not in it for money. You're in it for the people. You might be a little bit ahead of your time, but keep pushing forward.
That's awesome.
And it's an incredible, beautiful thing to see this plant come to fruition. And the biggest thing right now is, like, I'll say it, is fuck these synthetics. I'm not trying to dog on anybody growing with them or doing it, but I've seen on a commercial application scale of what it does to our land. We're all in it together. We're all trying to help each other out. We're all trying to make things better. So let's not trash the land, because eventually your runoff will go somewhere.
Yep.
Back to the commercial ag deal. I mean, my family in northeastern North Dakota, their ground used to be $2,500 an acre, maybe, if you're lucky. We're talking 15. When my grandpa went bankrupt and had to sell, I think it was all sold for $1,500 an acre. Now, that ground's valued anywhere between $7,500 and $10,000 an acre. Why? Because they drain tiled. They were able to unlock their nutrients and send the shit down the river. Well, the Red River eventually connects to the Hudson Bay. Let's look at where the Hudson Bay is now. I think there's, over the last 10 years, there's been some weird algae blooms.
Mm-hmm.
So you flush your toilet, eventually your shit ends up somewhere. So we need to implement the
Hudson
right
Valley.
practices.
It's like, no, my friends are up there.
We need to
It's like, where am
implement
I
the
from?
right practices
Absolutely.
to where we don't have to worry about where we flush our toilet. You know, I mean, it's like, good on you guys. You know, I mean, we have an indoor facility that's all hydro, super fucking high THC, like, just it's dialed in on that aspect. But when you flush your toilet, your shit runs somewhere. and that's with the Turp Ranch and where we're at. We want to leave this world a better place. We care about the things, and when you got a mastermind like Tim coming up with this new carbon tech that you can run through all your drip emitters, you don't have and change it up a little bit.
You're breaking up. Walk back to where you just were.
Oh shit!
Your internet doesn't go that far.
Oh, there you
Yeah,
There you go.
Yeah, it dropped out for a second.
Oh, God damn it! Well, I was walking down to the pad so I could kind of show everybody what we got going on here. I thought maybe.
Well,
hell yeah.
if we can
Maybe.
get right now, it's on a frozen, but we can hear you. How far out are you? How much far? Do you have any no internet down there?
Oh, I'm right next to the greenhouse.
Okay, well, let's try it. Let's keep going. Keep going.
Can you confirm or deny you're speaking to us on dial-up internet?
No, we're Elon Musk,
No, not-
Starlink, baby.
Yeah, yeah.
Hell yeah.
Oh, that's what you meant by that. I didn't get that one.
Is she still slowed down or not?
A little bit, but keep going. We'll see what we can get
Probably
to. You needed
Vinny's
those TP. You know those TP links. You know, you ever see those little TP link things they have? The little digi,
Who's it? What's it?
spreaders. They're good. Well, yeah, you can get like 5 because they go like about 60 feet in each direction, so you can link them up, and you just keep going.
It's like a Star Trek thing where they spread the shield out amongst the globe.
Here we go. Yeah, we got it.
Yeah.
We got you. We got you.
Yeah.
Oh, sick.
Okay, so here we are.
Pixelated, but we got you.
We're about 2.5 weeks into our flip. Everything we're probably about 2 foot of growth. Running Trollmaster, got BPFD sensors, so when our lighting goes underneath my minimum setting, we got lights up. We're running straight, basically indoors back on our lighting. I think I stretched it out 4.5 inches from indoor schematics. But yeah, I mean that's a couple cultured teas and amended soil, man. And we're $800 deep into our reload right now. And there's just it doesn't make any sense to me why we'd grow pot any other way than what God would try to tell us to do.
Well, you're in a Hortitech greenhouse, right?
Yep.
Oh, sweet.
That's a Hortitech structure, internal light depth. So it's a 30 by 100. It's a 30 by 100 external. It runs a 26 by 96 internal. So we have like a 2-foot air bubble, basically.
Nice.
And we got, as you can see right there, we got a wet wall installed. Up there is our heater exhaust. It's really loud in there. Otherwise, I'd kind of give you guys a breakdown on the earth battery that I dug out with our backhoe. Over here, it's a 12 by 96 I use as kind of a transitional. So I keep my mothers in there, and I keep the next round of plants in there to get them hardened off to the sun. Seems to work really good. Over here, that's where I take all my cuttings. It's kind of our propagation area. So lower light, we're running HLG lights. Seems to do really good. Over here, we got our curing container, 3 inches of spray foam insulation, all framed out. We're running like Unistrut sliders on racks. I can fit about 125 pounds in there on the racks. And we're just kind of mocking up the whole pad accordingly. Here we got 30 by 100 structure wrapped in 30% shade cloth. Another one. And then over here, we got 3 more greenhouse stalls where we're just going to run cable turnbuckles, few braces, and we're just going to shade cloth over the top. Lighting super fucking intense over the summer. Beyond that, it's basically a hail netting.
Yeah, I was gonna say over here we have that issue too. It's like start too early and you will fail. You'll be like, oh man, everything looks great. And then, because we have some serious hail here too.
That's talking with Jakey. He's our CEO, super awesome guy, lifelong friend of mine. He was out here. Family spent the night at the lake, and we're sitting over a campfire. He's like, "Hey, what about this?" Well, Jakey, don't worry about that. The only fears I have is getting sucked up in a tornado while I'm getting hailed on, and also getting bit by a rattlesnake.
Yeah,
so if we don't get sucked up in a tornado, hailed out, or bit in a rattlesnake while I'm defoaling,
or all at the same time, which would be really bad.
Gonna have.
See, I was just about to say we should just go do a show from his place, but now you.
Oh, the internet!
You lost
internet
me.
definitely gonna.
Yeah, Elon's gotta fix that.
We can figure something out.
No, you guys should come out. We got 3 boats on the property. I'm a half mile from a really nice recreational lake. I mean, we're all family here, and that's what I preach.
So Dave's a bit of a pussy when it comes to mosquitoes. So how big are the mosquitoes there? Because I imagine if they're some monsters in the summertime.
There?
Oh yeah, look at him.
We got all the shit that makes people uncomfortable. That's why South Dakota's so great.
Yeah,
it's the state bird, right?
It's the Australia of America.
State bird. I'm gonna petition for that, dude. We got enough people trying to petition for the wrong shit. I'm gonna petition to change the state bird to the mosquito.
Yeah, they're the same size up there.
Minnesota's already beat you to the punch, I think, but
they do. Minnesota's got more water than we do out here.
Minnesota's got the beasts of the.
We're highly
we're gonna do the show outside.
Oregon High Desert, Butte County, California, even.
Yeah,
we are gonna. If we came out there, we would do the show from inside where there weren't any mosquitoes, and when we were outside, I'd just shoot them.
Plus, you got the double. You got the Hortitech double.
Yeah, Hortitech just started advertising on the show like 2 weeks ago.
If I'll make you guys a deal. If you come out here, I'll guarantee no mosquitoes.
All right, that's
a guarantee. Look at him.
It's a total lie, but I'll
promise.
Yeah.
I'll believe it to get on the plane.
He's gonna be like, fuck. What? Be like, all right, I said no mosquitoes, but I meant kind of like, except for the occasional one.
We really should shoot for it. If you guys are serious about the deal, I would say end of August, early September, because all of this barren ground right now is going to go through a really large transition.
Oh, it has to be. It has to be during
7 days,
closer to harvest, so we can enjoy the walk through the field kind of vibe.
Yeah, I'm running.
Allegedly,
running
he would not share with non-medical patients of South Dakota.
No, we would never do that. We just look. We're lookers. We're looky-loos. We're looky-loos.
Never share.
We would. Look at this. You think this guy shares? Come on. Weed people share?
I'm pretty sure enough of it will fall out of his beard to keep us quite in the grass, so we'll be fine.
We should get you guys out here. You can fly into Rapid City. I'd come pick you up.
There you go. Dave's already on it. Dave's on it.
I might even have a mini limo to come pick you up and make you feel really special.
Is that called a car?
So listen, we would normally
mini
talk
limo
about
equals car. Actually.
No, it's a Cadillac.
Okay.
We got a Cadillac. It's like just a mini stretch.
Gotcha.
Nice.
We would normally talk about this.
Old Fleetwood, or what?
No, it's like a early 2000s.
Yeah.
I think it's a fucking DeVille, maybe. I don't know. We got white wall tires on it. It looks gangster as fuck.
Nice.
You'll feel super important.
Gotcha. Yeah. No, we got a. It was funny. I had a 87 Fleetwood super stretch when I first got here. So
Nice.
that thing
Well,
was a beast.
and Brandon, we would normally be talking about this in private, but since you brought it up, Adam's rider is really long.
Oh, yeah.
So
Part of it was limo.
It's going to take you a few months probably just to work on everything. So he requires a pound of M&Ms, but only the primary colors. Okay. Cashews, raw and unsalted. And he must have tepid water available to him at all times. 72 degrees, please.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
How many of these?
Oh yeah.
They never ending.
Unlimited, of course. Unlimited. Unlimited. Just reach
Dude,
up.
this is actually nothing. I was kind of thinking you guys would request a little bit more than that.
No, we're simple creatures.
Don't worry,
Real
there's
simple,
multiple
yeah.
pages coming.
We have more. What's
So yeah,
the
and honestly, end of August, early September would be a great time. We're pushing Platinum Pie out of the Intel Foundation. Pat, the Soil King, hooked me up with him. First week of September harvest is badass strain, dude. Covelo sour cherry pie times B9 Afghani landrace. They pheno hunted that, took that, crossed it with the Platinum Jagu.
Nice.
So yeah,
That
dude,
Jagu's something
Platinum.
special. I love Jagu.
Afgu. If anybody's listening that has the Mendo cut of Afgu, I've been without it since about 2012 on the planet.
It sounded
Really
like you were
looking at
asking.
that back in my life.
You broke up there, but it sounded like you were asking for Afgu.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, the Mendo cut.
Mendo cut.
Mendo
That
cut.
Mendo Covelo area Afgu from 2000s into the 2010s. That is the girl that I've been missing. I'm doing a hell of a lot of homework before I get into my breeding program, because to run a successful breeding program, you really have to have a direction and you got to stick with it.
Mm-hmm.
And that is one of my girls that, like, if I get that, I'm gonna start firing off
Cheddar
a bunch
Bob.
of shit.
Cheddar Bob has the Afghan. He's not sure though if it's the Mendo cut. He said so.
Let's link it up, dude. Covelo, fucking Afgu cut.
Hell yeah.
I'll start breeding, and everybody's heads will be very happy.
I like how Cheddar Bob put the Menudo cut instead of the
Menudo.
It's the Menudo cut.
Do you speak Spanish?
No,
Let's get her lined up. I mean, I've been hunting for her for fucking years. I never thought I was going to get back into cannabis. I lost both of my parents in 2017. I moved back here from the West Coast, take care of my sisters. I was their guardian, still am their legal guardian. So life kind of took a turn, and it's been a huge blessing that our state's been able to at least get us into medical, because I feel at home, and I'm really glad that I was able to spend the time away from the state learning the things that I did, because out of everybody, I'm not trying to follow the jungle boys. I'm bringing the down home, how to farm cannabis aspects to the state, and I think people will really start to
you want to do
notice
sustainability right out of the gate would be the way to present it, you know.
Yeah, and you're helping a lot of people, man. Like
that's what we're doing. It's sustainability, you know. I mean, I want to leave this place better than where we're left off. I want my kids to be able to run this same thing, and we have a long reach of projects we want to do out here. Everything takes time, and you can only be so many places at once. But huge shout out to Farmer Nate at Sierra Living Organics, because he's been a huge mentor to me on trying to get linked up with the JDOM and taking shit to scale. You know, it's such a test. You don't know what you're actually making. So he's been guiding me through that. Like having Tim in my back pocket. I mean, it's just been great, dude. I mean, it's all love. You got to look at it the right way, though. You take the money aspect out of it. You do things the right way. Good things will come.
Yes, sir.
So we all got to stand strong, put our foots down, and fucking grow things the right way, as nature intended. Because if you load your soil with what it needs, soil feed plants. I'm not growing plant right now. I'm growing soil. I got the right people on the team to do it, and that's where we're at, and we're not hurting anything. If I have any runoff off of this pad, I'm going to be able to plant sweet corn there next year.
Yeah.
Yep. Hell yeah. Leaving it in a better place than you found it, man.
Yeah. I mean, that's what it is. We're all part of the same fucking rotating blob on this earth, and we just need to figure out how to
Oh,
work
I don't
together
know.
with it.
It's more like a pizza, rotating
I
pizza.
like pizza. So that's a good segue for us to
We could
go
with pizza
into.
too. I like pizza.
Yeah. Who doesn't?
We have to move into the financial portion of the show, and
No, but
do
okay,
some
we need to
ads
do.
and stuff.
Well, we need to do the obvious websites and how do people find you? Because I guess you're the only one with an Instagram, right? Because I looked up, like I was trying to find the Terp Ranch, and I could not find it. So
I've been kind of in the middle of possibly starting a Terp Ranch IG, but I am Brandon BRANDON .Manger MANGER on Insta.
Okay.
On there, you'll find a bunch of really good growing pot.
Good
couple
grown
beautiful
pot.
kids and some really big northern pike. And that's what I do. Shout out to my buddy Eugene is Loud. He's my East River counterpart. He catches big catfish.
We need to get
Has a hell of a
JJ and them
family.
hooked up.
Grows good pot. Over here on the west side, I catch big northern pike. Focus all my time on my family and growing good, healthy plants.
Sick.
And that's
Sick.
life.
Dream,
you know?
man.
Pike,
Yeah,
pike
that's
are
awesome.
mean. Those things are some mean fish. I remember catching like small pickerels.
No,
that
they
were-
got teeth.
I know those things have. Those
we
are
should
beasts.
do
Those are
Adam Dunn on the ice this winter.
Oh, there we go. Ice
I'll
fishing.
take you guys
Like
to
ice-capades?
my fucking honey hole.
No, ice fishing with the little house and everything, or what? Little
Oh,
hou-
well, yeah.
That's
I
fun.
mean, we're
Yeah.
typically spending that time in a Chevy on top of the ice, but I would be willing to set up either a permanent shack or a portable shack if you guys.
No, because you got to get a
I can
shack and
supply
just blast that
generators,
bitch
all
out.
that
we
shit.
hotbox.
We got to
We'll
hotbox
do it.
that. We got to hotbox that
We'll
little house on
hotbox
the
the
ice.
fuck out of it.
That would be fun. That would actually be
I
pretty
can
fun.
see the headlines
See, that,
right now.
that is something.
Fucking
That's
Adam
literal-
Dunn show on
literal
the
bucket
ice,
list.
South Dakota will catch a fucking state record pike, smoke big doobies, talk about organic cannabis farming and how
Oh, sick.
we're the leader of where agriculture needs to transition to if we want to see this fucking place not rot, you know?
Right.
Yes,
Well,
sir.
sweet. Let us know the
It's
next.
just an option.
No, it sounds fun. We went with the James. I went with James Bean halibut fishing when we went to Alaska, and that was the first. That was like the last time I did some real proper fishing with something. But I'd love to ice fishing. Totally be cool because it's one of those things I've watched. I've seen enough people get like, while they're sitting there, their friends hook up a fucking car to the thing and drag them away and all that stupid shit. I'm like, that's where all the debauchery goes down, is in those little fucking, those little things, because people go nuts, right? They're out there fishing, drank too much, the guns come out,
weed.
people start getting crazy. Wow, fucking, I can just imagine, right? I can imagine those.
I just want to give you guys a good South Dakota welcome, man.
Hell yeah.
Yes.
We're looking forward to it.
I'm game. Well, thank you again for coming on, man.
Thank you
wonderful
so
having you.
much. It was great having you.
Dude, hey, thank you guys. And if you can't make it out here end of August, early September, let's try to throw me on again, and I'll show you what happened with this barren pad, because it's gonna be fucking nuts.
No, that's cool
The
to
next-
see a little before and
the
after
next
action.
week.
Yep.
Yeah, it's
Like we typically try to, I was always taught, try to hold out till solstice. And we're pushing it close to that. I'm not going to quite hit the solstice. I'm going to go a little bit before then, but we're just sticking with the old tried and true ways, and it's going to be really neat.
Oh, we got hit.
What
we
we
got
can
hit
do with
the other day with some hail here. I got hit the other day, and I was just like, because it was like just thinking about the garden, and it started to hail. It was like, oh fuck! It's like, here you go, here it comes. It's like, yeah, we're not doing nothing. Thank God we didn't do anything this time. Last year we had the same. Last year we put stuff out, and it was like, thank God we put covers up, because it was needed. We only lost a few on the edges.
right.
Yep.
No, it's going to be really cool to see what we can do out here. I mean, we're full sun. They'll benefit off 30% shade cloth, and like I said, it ain't even fun shade. It's hail protection, but between run from Pat and the nice little work Tim's done,
That's gonna be great.
it's going to be really cool.
Hell yeah. I'm
So
stoked.
we should tune me in. If you guys don't make it here,
No,
tune
we'll
me
check in.
in
We'll
into
just
August.
we'll get back in.
and,
we'll check in. We'll check in. We'll just
Yeah.
do some little multi checks here and there, see, because now we know what's up.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, man. Thanks,
Thanks for
Brandon.
joining us.
Thanks,
Let's do
bud.
it. For the soul growers that are confused right now, and they're confused, they're growing the same smelling pot, same looking pot as everybody else, running the same nutrients. There are options out there. I'm just gonna say I've been part of it. Tim McCormick.
Cultured
That is
biologics.
one.
Your internet is totally wherever you walk to. It went to shit.
Carbon nutrients to scale. So let's go.
Hell yeah, man.
Let's go, Brandon. Oh, there we go. See, he did it.
All right.
He had to do it. He had to
Trying
do it. Brandon had to give us a let's
Hell
go.
yeah. Well, hey, much love, you guys, from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you, bro.
Let's do some quick checkups, and then even if I got to dance on the nights, I'll fly you guys out here.
Oh, now
We're
you're
going to
talking.
hold you to that.
Now you're talking. You fucked up right there. You
I'm
should
in.
never
I'm
said
already
that.
in. Book my ticket.
Yeah, well, wait.
Hell yeah,
I didn't even
let's
tell
make it
you.
happen, guys. Much love.
First class, baby.
And,
Yeah, first class.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks,
Peace.
Brandon.
Hey, bud.
Peace out.
ET Turp Ranch, baby. Peace.
Nice. That's cool. And that makes sense because I saw all the people that were super excited. Horty
Yeah.
was one of them.
Oh,
so
yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, there you go. Makes sense.
Did you? How is it? I mean, how old do you think he is?
Brandon, he's late 30s.
Okay, so I was going to say if he was a little older, we should. You know how he's saying you'll take a look at this pad right here to see if it's. We want to see if his beard's just as red because it's something about us redheads. When it goes
You're
fucking
predicting
quick.
he's going to go like he's already predicting that shit's.
We'll have a beard
It
check
was
in.
bright red when I sat down next to you, and I've only been here 4.5
That's like
years.
it's like a Paul Garrett style. Paul Garrett's got his one all went gray too. So yeah, it's true. When it happens, it does happen.
All right, build a soil.
Dun, 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 dun.
Dot
Speaking of
com.
soil, speaking of building, build a soil.
Can you get cultured at Build a Soil?
You cannot.
No, you cannot. Right now it's that's why because he has direct. He just cut out all the middle.
Oh, no middlemen. That's it.
fuck.
Fuck them. So that's why he's leaving. Okay. Buildasoil.com, you're going to get the done deal only if you call them and speak to them. You can't enter it on the website. Long story, but you basically got 4 years of free done deals because they entered it in incorrectly, and everybody got it. So buildasoil.com, 855-877-SOIL.
Green Farms.
It's better than the last time. That is JW's moniker, and the interior of his dispensary really is better than the last time.
Oh, everything. He keeps improving everything. Place keeps rocking and rolling. It's like one of those things where it has, the key to cannabis sales is good cannabis. So that's what it comes down to. He's doing really good selection. He's got Green Dot. He's got big brands in there that are, proven to be quality brands. And also the thing is JW loves to smoke weed. JW smokes. He's like, there's certain people who smoke, like they smoke weed, maybe the end of the day or whatever. But
No, he smokes all day.
all day, every day.
And they have the Turbo Core.
And so he knows what's up, and he's delivers that. So and yeah, they've got turbo cores in stock. They've got all sorts of cool shit. So check
Now,
them out.
the done deal's 10%, Adam, but you know what?
I think
You
get
can
more.
get more if you say, listen, I need a little more. Call JW.
JW said get a penny joint on top of that one.
Oh,
boom.
yeah, or
They'll-
penny gram, something. Anyway, talk to them. They'll take care of you.
Yeah, definitely worth going to. And
Green Bros with a Z. Greenbros.com. If you enter Done Deal, actually, the big ticket items, you're not going to be entering the promo code. You're going to be speaking with them. So you're going to bring it up.
They are big ticket. They're no bullshit. And
Yeah.
you get 5% on those.
5% of those and 10% on the bucket. And the bucket you can do online and just enter Done Deal. But this company, everything's made in Las Vegas. Stainless steel. Everybody who is, and really anybody in the commercial industry, has some piece of equipment by Green Bros. In fact, what did we learn? That Apothecary won't even take
Any trim from any other
trim
company.
if it's not used by a Green Bros trimmer because it just comes all fucked up any other way.
Yeah, it's a gentle. It's definitely as far as if you're. I mean, thing is, if you're growing anything on scale, you're probably losing more. I mean, everybody wants to hand trim, of course, but nobody wants to trim small buds and medium-sized buds. So if you can have your crew concentrate on all the good buds, make sure that they're handled properly, they won't get all burned out trying to fucking trim smaller stuff at the bottoms of your buds, which everybody's got, because every plant's got every size of bud going along the way. So there is a point where you want to automate that shit. It'll definitely improve your final game.
They'll get you 80%
Plus,
there.
this is a dry trimmer too. This is not a wet trimmer. We're not trying to fuck weed up. So as long as your timing is correct, you go about 10 to 14 days dry, depending on where you live, and bucket, drop it in, boom, boom, boom. You're like, oh wow, this shit.
Greenbros with a Z.com.
Yes, sir. Apothecary Farms.
So if Mark wasn't at the basketball,
Oh, he would be
game,
doing this.
he'd be doing
We
this one.
normally never do this ad because Mark does it because he
Hold
loves
on.
it so much.
He's waving from the game, I think. Right
Is
now.
he?
Yeah, there he is. Look at
Look at him.
No, but
That's how I roll it.
But
Mark-
the game's in Miami, though, right?
no.
Yes.
Is
Yeah.
it? Oh, so he's going to some bar.
Yeah.
No, there's a watch party at Ball Arena.
Oh my god.
Sold out.
Really?
Yeah, it's gonna be
Wow,
loud.
that's crazy.
Loud.
That is crazy. But anyway, he's been going there since before the show, I believe, or
He
whenever.
was the one that suggested it to us.
It was his go-to spot, and boy, did he pick a winner, because these guys put out fire. They're now also opened up in Oklahoma. They got even more places there than they have here. 5 there, 4 here. Just opened up a new one at Garden of the Gods.
That's 9.
They're killing it. But also they're one of the few people that figured out that if you exclusively focus on one sort of aspect of the game, which is in their department is all rosin and BHO concentrates, then and some bubble hash. The hardest thing, it's funny how bubble hash has become like the you can't find it.
The Holy Grail.
Yeah.
It is. And you're
Because
like,
it's so
you're like,
labor-intensive.
you guys have been squishing it all now to make that. Why don't you just not squish some shit that's so good?
I don't give a 6-star.
And
Come
then
on.
they don't want to do it because they're like, no, it doesn't sell. Because it's the opposite. Like, it has this weird thing where because it's not there and it's not always available, you don't get, people don't get like on the rotation. So
Ask for the done deal when you go in there.
yeah, tell
and
me
they'll
once
work
it's
some out
6-star
for you.
now.
There you go.
I know all about that.
Thank you, Mark.
There you go, Mark. Thank you. Ba-dum-bum.
So I did a reel today. It's already got gajillion
Could have been
likes.
the rocket, but it's not.
It's not. It's the go.
Could have been a
All you need to
contender.
do is go to Greenbros. Go to dabx.com.
Got it to do.
dabx.com. Enter done deal at checkout. You get 20% off everything they have. So off the
I'd have
go,
to-
off the rocket. Well, we didn't. The tray didn't make it over.
I didn't bring it with me. No, I didn't. I forgot
So
to bring it. But
this is really, in my opinion, right now, the best electronic dab rig on the market.
Absolutely.
It hits clean every time. The reclaim does not follow the same path as your vapor. Charges quickly. It's convenient. Just take our word for it. Dabx.com and buy yourself a go by entering done deal at checkout.
what I saw was a lot of guys that are like snowboarding and stuff, and I'm like, oh, that makes sense because it doesn't have any wind on it. So there's no, you don't have to worry about like.
Oh yeah.
So it's like, oh, that makes so much sense. You pop out, snowboarding, riding along, and I'm like, oh, that's pretty dope.
cool.
You know, so it's got a lot of
Innovation. Good.
reasons that thing even makes more sense.
Stoner innovation. Stoner innovation's the best thing.
Science on the Adam Dunn show today. Jeez.
Yeah. Go ahead. Oh, speaking of go ahead, Ozo Coffee. We're getting one step closer to Ozo Denver starting to rock. Well, we'll be a representative of Ozo. Won't be a.
Well, it'll be. We will proudly be exclusively serving.
Oh yeah, we're
Ozo
definitely
coffee.
not having any other coffee. There's no other reason to even think about it because these guys produce. Are they single source directly from the farmer? Hook up people, they are literally on the road going to these people direct, meeting up. So
Go to their Instagram page right now. There's a picture of the Hartmans with like this family in Honduras in front of their coffee farm. So it's truly environmentally friendly coffee too. They really take pride in working with farmers who are doing their best to practice sustainable farming. The beans are amazing. They're shipped green, roasted in Boulder, sold to you. It's the shit. So you enter Done Deal 23. Gotta have the 23 there, and you're gonna get 20% off your order. Get the subscription. Like we like to say, do like Rosin Dogs. He was right on board. The moment they became an advertiser, he was getting their coffee.
Oh, yeah,
and
but
he's always had the best to say about
And he's on
them.
it. And he's on it. That's for sure.
Ozocoffee.com. I was in 14er today, and there were people from out of town, and I got them to buy DJC. It was fun. They didn't like swap it out. They added it to their order. So there you go. Look, I'm doing sales for you guys.
Look at that.
So 14erboulder.com. If you enter Dunn Deal at checkout, you get 20% off everything in the store. But here's the catch: you got to place a pre-order. It really helps them because people stand there, they window shop. If you know what you want and you know that you're gonna enter the Dunn Deal, just do it online. Your pre-order will be ready in like 5 minutes. That's really all it takes. And don't go in there and tell the person at the counter window shopping that they can go online and use Dunn Deal. That's not our arrangement. You're hearing it from us. 20% off is fantastic. You can walk out the door with a gram of rosin for under
Don't stand outside the
$25.
door going, psst, psst, 20%, 20%. Hey, psst, psst, 20%.
That's all. We get to do that.
Yeah, we're doing that
You
to
don't
you
get to
right
do
now.
that.
It's going in.
So
We're doing that.
1 gram, and I like their 4 gram buckets.
That's how I
because
roll.
I don't have to throw out so many of the jars.
I know. I hate the jar. It sucks because you're like, you're like dumping like 4 or 5 jars, and you're like, that was like a night. That was like one night. That was like one night.
Where did that go?
14erboulder.com. Look at that DJC batter.
Pegasus bags. What? Wait, we're back again? Is that going back? There you go. Pegasus bags. Garrett over at Pegasus Bags is killing it. Also, our other chattiest co-host we've ever had.
No, yeah.
He was like a frozen. Wrong. He was like frozen. It was great.
He was great.
With a crazy shirt on. Frozen.
He knows his shit.
And he does.
And if you're buying bags from somebody else right now, there's a really good chance they're buying them from Pegasus. And they're just repackaging them, or he's white labeling for them. So just go straight to the source. PegasusBags.com.
Is he going to be in town next week for the conference?
Probably
or?
for MAPS.
I would imagine, right?
Yeah.
Come on by.
So, yeah. So PegasusBags.com.
Come early.
Done deal at checkout. I believe you get 10 or 15% off your order. You'll know when it says coupon accepted. But a fantastic company, a great guy. You know, the beauty of it is he's an activist. He believes in mushrooms. And when he heard what was going on here in Colorado, the first thing he said is, I'm going to get on a plane and I will knock on some doors, because that's what he did in Texas. Or, no, it wasn't in Texas. Where was it again? I forget. But he's done it before.
Yeah, that place.
PegasusBags.com.
In his imaginary place that he
No,
had.
he was. He was a lobbyist.
place.
I don't want to say it wasn't in Texas.
Check it out. Check it out. 14ers. Some 14ers there. That's some
If you're a
Camdelic-
commercial company
Camdelic-
in California and you want your cannabis to be rolled into joints by some of the finest technology available, hit up bangerswithans.com. Tell them you heard about it on the Adam Dunn Show.
There you are.
Oh yeah, that was.
You
I
saw-
had no idea
Free
that.
boom.
That
we kind
Brandon uses Hortitech.
kind of see it, but that was the first dealie on the left. Wait, what? Hold on right there. See how they have the dual thing going on?
yeah.
That's pretty much the same system he had going on. So, purpose built for cannabis. There's some aesthetic.
They are just a great company right now. So he has a dedicated sales force. He has a rep in every state. There's someone you can talk to. His customer service is second to none, and his director of marketing is fucking funny. There's a video going around. Check him out. Go to HortitechDirect.com. You're probably going to be speaking to a sales rep, or you stop right there so I can read the phone number. Go back. It's
Right there. Stop.
Nope. Go back.
Yep, right
541-605-5555. Is that right, or is that
3555?
541-605-3555.
Yep.
Ask to speak with somebody there.
I think just knowing that they had 60 below, and he could maintain it at 72 degrees for, he said, what was it, how many gallons?
for
30 gallons
30
a day.
gallons a
30
day.
gallons, yeah.
30 gallons of propane per day.
I wonder if he realizes he has an SOP now to sell to other countries who commonly exist in that environment.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty limited.
They
but
dialed
yes.
it. I know.
Norway.
Yeah,
Site-
I know.
no, all over Russia.
They did. They
Most
did a lot of
northern parts
research. They
Canada.
did a lot of work on it throughout the winter. They really put in the legwork on it.
Which is like surprising because it's also, you could they, not that they look skimpy, but they don't look like oversized by any means compared to like some greenhouses I've seen, which are like, the ones that, for instance, in Holland they build. They're $1 million each.
Mm-hmm.
They're pretty big. They're probably about 4 times the size of those, but still, it's like 4 times the price too.
Oh yeah.
Well, they have professionals and engineers that will work with you to help you through if you need assistance in permitting.
So every
like
state,
getting a
look at that. They got
pad
different
Yeah,
states have
different states, yeah.
No, they're smart about it. They didn't.
Yeah.
They know their shit.
Hortech tricks.
They really know their shit. So go to hoardertechdirect.com and take a browse, but then give them a call at. Hold on, I'm going to have to do this by memory now. 541-605-3555.
Just say 355. How's that? Boom.
355. Bam! I just mentioned you heard about it on the show.
Makes you sound like you think like you've been there.
Well, they'll give you 5% off your order, so that is a chunk of change on that big
Well, how
ticket
about
item.
50? How about double your order for two for? How about
two,
two for one?
My hempen didn't arrive, buddy. They fucking ripped you off on Memorial. Yeah, they stole all his packages on Memorial.
No.
No way.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what he said. A lot of
I had
the stuff he
chocolates in
mailed.
there for me.
Yeah, I never
But
got
you
it.
guys supposed to get stuff too.
The package he was gonna get, I was supposed to get a little chocolate.
Oh, I was supposed to give you some chocolate from two?
Well, two is giving me chocolate through you.
Wow.
So you weren't technically giving me
I have
chocolate.
a-
Look at this all going.
two for two
Typical
now.
two style right here. Double.
You're the mule for the chocolate.
He's like,
Holy fuck.
holy, you didn't know you were a mule and chocolate for him?
No shit.
Wow, I didn't realize.
There'll be a
You're just a
few-
pass through for me.
It's okay. We're within Colorado, so it's okay. We're fine.
So go to hempenco.com. Did I get it right?
No.
Hempen.co.
Yes.
There we go.
Nailed it.
One day we'll get it correct.
Hempen. Hey, listen, Adam and the dude.
Yeah, right. Ooh.
Hempen.
6 flavors. You got
Hempen.co.
Now
cherry.
everyone's confused. They think you're talking about
Hempen.co.
the dude grows.
Yeah.
You got your pet friendlies. Been saving pets for years.
My dog specifically.
Yeah, good shit. Definitely, if you got, as we talked about earlier, like people who really need CBD and who really need THC in their life are the people who probably don't know it the most. Right. So
Ask for the most.
Yep.
this is a good intro. This is a good way to intro your mom or grandma or yourself if you need it to the wonders of cannabis.
It's clean.
Like,
There's
holy
no
shit.
chemicals.
Yeah, and his products are all made with like the flavoring is organic, and the tiger's blood, for instance, is amazing. Like
Real tiger's blood.
like that is made with tiger's blood. So
yeah, no, he
It's
has
Adonis DNA.
Adonis DNA in every 4 ounces, at least 5%.
That's how I roll it.
That's how he rolls. Yeah, good shit. Like,
Hempen.co.
Hemp.co.
What a great product. The product you don't realize that you really can't live
Just like I
without.
said, another one of these.
Yeah.
These are growing on me. I was like, why do I gotta do this every time? But now
I
I'm
know
like,
you feel like a jerk, and then you're like, wait a minute, it hits really good though.
Yeah, I kind of like
Yeah, why don't we smoke and kiss at the same time, right? I mean, you're really taking an extra step to be safe during a time when, you know what,
It's called
everyone
blowback.
can.
If you're going to an event where everybody's passing joints around or something like that, you're going to end up with the cannabis cough. It's
What
the
do we-
dreaded
the
cannabis
cup
cough.
cough.
We have
Cup
so
cough?
many. What
There's
is
many.
it?
Cup cough.
Cup cough?
Cup cough.
Cup cough, wook flu.
Oh yeah, Wick flu.
Yeah, that's one.
What else?
Did you hear the at that Wook Fest? Did they have the, or was it Wook Fest or it was the glass thing that went on like about
Oh
a
yeah,
month
well
ago?
they all got the plague.
Literally.
Oh, yeah,
and I didn't hear anything about it. I was gonna go. I was like, oh, I should go check it out. It's glass, and I invited Kyle. And I was like, but Kyle's like a 3-hour drive, so I was like, fuck it, dude. Let's not even waste your time. It's too much work. And then we didn't go. Mateo went, I think.
Did he get it?
And then later, he didn't say nothing to me. And then all of a sudden, I saw a post, and it was like somebody who just came back from like the grave. Basically, it was like, oh, it was the worst thing. I can't believe that went around. I was like, so it literally lived up to its name and was like just that everybody transferred fucking some virus around each other. Like
2017 Emerald Cup almost killed me. I had influenza B, and I literally thought I was going to die for 3 days.
Wow, influenza
I couldn't
B.
move off the couch. Like I got it at the Emerald Cup, and like as I was flying home, I was like, it was like kicking in.
Wait, 2017, we were at that one.
Yeah, there was a bad flu that went around, and that almost took me out. These are cool. I like the idea behind these.
So you were documented because you wouldn't obviously know you got it.
Yeah, they gave us
playing us off. All right,
Is that the influenza B strong or what's that? What's that one?
Hang on, we'll talk about that. Let's finish this one. Go to yoproducts.
Oh, this guy.
.com. Go to YoTips on Instagram or YoProducts on Instagram or YoTip.com. Not right? It's not YoTips. It's YoTip.com. Enter Dunn Deal at checkout. You get 10% off. Go back one, Vin.
Go back.
So if you live in a medical-only state and you shop at a medical dispensary, would you hit us up at DunnDeal@AdamDunnShow.com, and we will connect you with the guys at Yo Products, and they will send you some of these so that you can take in and introduce to them. Because if you're buying cannabis at a medical dispensary, you should have an opportunity to have a Yo tip and to buy one, because it is really, we're living proof. We didn't get the plague.
Yeah.
And we shared it with somebody who had the plague.
Told us
weird.
so. We're on each side. We're literally
yeah.
those.
Okay. So we love these guys. So all right, Cultured Biologics.
Oh yeah, go ahead, do it.
Are you gonna do your own ad now? The whole show was
Just keep
your
it tight.
ad.
Just keep it tight.
Come on,
keep it
real
tight.
quick.
It makes the best tasting cannabis.
Bam! Mic drop.
Whoa, that was it.
And it's non-fracking
Oh, yeah.
material fertilizers.
Non-frack.
Zero materials are fracked in the making of these fertilizers.
Zero fracking.
You need to
That's
put
gonna have.
an X through fracking on there. You know, X fracking.
That's
You should
good.
make a sign.
Yeah, that's
You
good,
know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We use no natural gas fertilizers in the making of our products.
Yeah.
They're all organic. We use protein nitrogen, which is the fourth form of nitrogen, and we use rock phosphate, which is mycorrhiza's best friend. It is the best organic fertilizer, carbon-based fertilizer on the market. I think you'll love it if you try it, so give it a go.
Thank you so much. But how duplicitous is of this?
What?
How duplicitous is it of us that we're going to go have corn during the break, and it's grown with urea?
You can't get away from it. We're not
It's about mitigation.
We're not
It's
saying
about-
you're going to take it out of your life entirely.
Right,
We're just saying
exactly.
like you got to figure out how to like now alternative processing, a way to get around.
Well, culturebiologics.com. What's the Dunn deal?
The Dunn deal is done. It's a 20% off.
Holy moly!
Holy goodness!
love you
Holy,
guys.
holy
Thank you for watching. Thank
guacamole!
you
Plus, it's
for
also not
doing
only
this.
that; it's already the cheapest it's ever been because
No middlemen.
you've knocked out everybody and said, "Fuck
You
it."
can't even get it from Odie.
We self-distribute.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we save the margin instead of tucking it under our wing. We just cut our MSRP down.
Cultured Biologics with an X.
It shouldn't be expensive to grow plants. So we should do our best to give you guys the discount, and that's kind of the mentality behind
Deal. That was tight.
And
was
that goes
tight.
counter to the whole organic concept that people are like, everything has to be more expensive. Now,
Yeah.
thing is, the cannabis should be more expensive if it is grown organically because people have, taken the time to actually put the right inputs in there and like not cut corners and not go.
Wait, hold on. Phone. What? James Bean says right now that
What?
organic cannabis
Yeah.
for an ounce
Yeah.
in California is $4,200.
Oh my God!
It has gone up.
We'll never.
$4,200.
No, that's the problem is that people don't appreciate it and don't. It's a joke. It's a joke, guys. Relax, everybody.
Oh, look, they're
So,
all like,
look at them.
"No,
They're all
it's
worked
not.
up.
No, it's not.
They're all checking their phones. Wait a minute. Nobody.
We're not. This is an entertainment show, man. We
making
want to
up-
make you enjoy.
No, but there are stupid priced. There's always going to be stupid priced products.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
But sometimes they're
Hawthorne.
worth it because people do put the energy into it. Now, sometimes it's not.
That's
but
Hawthorne.
I mean, part of my job is to make sure everybody can get affordable fertilizers. So, technology is really cool. We can make organic products for like the price of conventional. So it should be competitive at least.
Dig it.
No.
Culture Biologics.
Zero
.com.
nitrates.
Zero
No
nitrates.
fracking.
No fracking.
No fracking.
If you live in Colorado, they got 2 locations of Verde Natural, one in Denver, one in Boulder. Go online and enter Dunn Deal at checkout, and you get, I think it's 15% off your order. Yeah, 15% off your order. It's got to be a pre-order. Just go online. But if you're shopping on, straight up there, they have a deal already. You can get 8 grams of apothecary extracts processed Verde natural flower for $75 out the door. That is a hell of a deal. That, I think, even by my math, that's less than $10 a gram. So go to verdenatural.com. Their rosin, their Dab Logic, it is the most sought after rosin that, being around this show now for as long as I have, everybody wants. This is the one. Okay, it's the one you want to just have in your fridge so that when you have a friend come over, you can have the best of the best.
The cream of the crop.
Okay, it is something special. Terpwipes.com/done deal. That's all you need to do.
Cross promote though. We do need to get in touch with these guys and get them direct to Green Farms. They need it.
They need Terp wipes?
They want it from the shelf. They want to sell it.
All right, we got it. I'll take care of that.
Link
for
them up. Link them
Terpwipes.com/done deal.
Yes, sir. That's all you need to know.
Bio 365.
If you watched last week, you got to see some of that Bio Bloom in action, and that was some amazing looking flower. And had to use 10% of the normal usage of newts that he would normally use, which that's a savings right there. So there you go. And then also, picky person when it came to soil. So that's also good because he was really tearing it apart and looking at it fine-tooth comb and really liked what he saw. So, but they got a whole range. They got like 9 different mixes. So you can get the basic, which is their Bio All, and then you can amend accordingly, or you can go with the pre-amended, or you can go with the cocoa or the light mix, or all of the above. But you can also, if you are a licensed facility and you want to check the shit out, give us a call or check through us at Dunn Deal at Adam Dunn Show. Tell us
Or you can reach out to Tim directly. He's Bio365 Tim on Instagram.
But it could go to Tim McCormick by mistake because you'd be all confused because you watch the show and you're like, wait a minute, his name was Tim and that guy's name was Tim, and then I sent it to the wrong Tim.
He doesn't wear sunglasses.
It's not as bad, Todd.
Yeah.
No,
That's the worst mix-up.
Oh yeah, sorry. He's been mixed up with Todd McCormick so many times it's ridiculous. Like people go like, what? Todd? No,
different guy.
Different guy.
Bio365.com.
He's a little different.
Numb Nuts. This is it.
I bought regular
numbnutsco.com.
Adam Weiss, if you're listening, I bought regular peanut butter the other day because I couldn't have a house with no peanut butter, and I have no peanut butter left, so that means I had to buy
we need peanut butter.
So that's a sad day when you're buying peanut butter when one of your sponsors is a peanut butter company, and you're like, wait a minute, I'm buying peanut butter?
I hope you bought Numb Nuts.
No, I didn't buy. I was in a supermarket. And the thing is, you gotta have
numbnutsco.com. You enter Dunn
I gotta
Deal at
calm Nick
checkout.
down with the CBD buds.
You get 20% off.
Calm down, kid. Calm down.
You get 20% off. You got to try their cinnamon almond butter. It is fantastic.
Oh, it is
You need to
good.
give your pets their CBD peanut butter. If you want non-infused, they have that as well. And if you are a medical patient in Colorado, you can find their 1,000 milligram THC peanut butter tubs all across the state. So go to numbnutsco.com. Breckenridge Organic Therapy, they just started advertising with us, and I don't know what the done deal is yet. I didn't even know if I was.
There's a lot going on over here. Sorry.
You're a little behind on that one. That was a delay in the sound effects.
There's like 3 boards going on like this over here.
I didn't even know if I should throw them in, but I'm just going to throw them some love because now is the season that everyone's coming to town. If you're not a skier and you're coming to Colorado to go up to the mountains, you're going to pass Breckenridge Organic Therapy. And
so now is the not season? Is that what you said?
Well, it's a different season. I'm not a skier.
I was going to say this is not the season, but anyway.
When you go up there, go to Breckenridge Organic Therapy.
Oh, it's that season. This is the weed season. This is definitely the buy weed somewhere and go walk around and then smoke more weed.
With
and
all
then
the rain.
get back to your car and smoke
I'm sure all the
weed.
mushrooms are going
and then
crazy.
drive back to your house and smoke weed. And then get up and smoke weed.
I'll tell you the done deal next week. Go on, Vin.
Actually, that's the opposite, too. It's the people who don't smoke weed, who come to Colorado, buy some weed to go on a hike that they've never do. then smoke a bunch of weed, which
Oh,
they
they
never
flip
do.
face plant.
And then they're fucking completely like, wow, then they can't find their car. And then it gets dark and they're like, fuck, where'd you park the car, bro?
Seeds here now.
Becomes the worst trip they've ever had. That's what usually happens, right?
I want to say, I spent a little time
right
with
here.
James Bean, and
Look at
he's
this. He's
actually
getting
a
all
great guy
bright
in
and
person.
fresh. Oh, he's actually a good guy.
Comes his character on the show. He comes off as quite stiff.
He couldn't get away
sometimes.
from me. That was the problem. He couldn't just click bloop and go bye. See, he had to.
SeedsHereNow.com.
He was physically attached.
Enter
at
Dunn deal
reality
at
with you.
checkout. I
was-
saw JJ
I was
there
gonna say,
too.
I was going to say, he was there, right?
He was there.
Good job.
Doing
JJ.
quite well, but
And
he's
if JJ's watching the show and he somehow missed out on the reality of that guy going fishing for giant pike, we'll take
he'll
you.
join us.
Come with us, and we'll go hang out there.
You can go to the Dakotas.
Look, he's already flying us there. By the time we're done with him, he's going to send a jet for us. So we're going to need to fill the seat, JJ. So you'll come with us and go fishing.
We got a mini stretch.
And a mini.
Oh, and a mini
we
stretch.
still don't buy that though. It could be a
I
Volkswagen.
swear it's a car. It's just like a mini stretch equals car.
So here's the beauty of Seeds Here Now. He has over 70 breeders, and there is not a single shared male amongst them.
That they know of. Secretly, I'm sure there's.
You're going to wind up with some unique strains, and so if you're one of those seed poppers or the seed bankers, this is the place you want to go.
Chuckers?
No, the ones that buy them to put them in a closet and
collectors.
they never collect
those guys, they're the best.
Yeah.
They're the best.
Adam loves you.
Never complain.
SeedsHereNow.com.
No, I do. I'd rather.
And somebody asked if there's a discount on our site, on the Adam Dunn Show site, if there's a done deal
on which site?
for this one coming up right now.
No, there's not a done deal.
No, we can't even.
Correct.
We
That's what
can't
I
get a
said.
deal. We wish we could.
Yeah.
No, it is the done deal. The done deal is the fact you're there.
All right.
That's your done deal.
So get that one up there.
That's right.
And everyone can buy a motherfucking Adam Dunn Show shirt. You can buy an Adam Dunn Show shirt.
Is there a fuck you?
Maybe we'll.
There should be. That's a great
Got
idea.
stickers, got ball
Some money right
caps.
there.
Yeah, today's the day you want to fuck with me. There we go.
The money.
After
guy.
you saw the fucking rant I went on before this
don't
one,
think
this
he
is
was
what you want to
here.
do.
I don't know. I wasn't.
Go to AdamDunnShow.com. There is no done deal there. Just buy the stuff there.
There's no
It
such
helps
thing.
keep the lights on.
We forgot what the done deal was. At that point, we said,
Like
Maybe
this.
we'll start selling some
This is
cultured
some
merch.
OG here.
Ooh.
Or maybe some glasses.
Yeah. All my
"Oh
merch.
no, yeah.
Yeah.
He just has to get his own merch on his own site." And then
No,
he-
we'll sell it so we can get a piece.
No, we're gonna go through portals.
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 Ooh, back
Web3.
Web3 portals.
NF Seeds.
Speaking of which,
Oh, yeah. We need to get them in the rotation.
Countdown to the Bloom Fest. The Bloom.
When is it? August?
August 20 something, but that comes quick. I mean, I'm telling you, June. Once you hit June,
I know.
it's like la la di da di do. Everybody just freaks out and goes nuts, and all of a sudden it's like, wait a minute, September already?
You blink.
Yeah.
So
that
the question
happens.
I would have for them is it straight up just a Cardano event, or are they
No,
looking
it's
to
a-
attract every type
No, it's a
of crypto?
Cardano ETH event now, I think.
Oh, because
yeah.
Yvonne will
Okay.
be there, and he's everything, and
Yeah.
there's also Joe Ingram, who is a poker player and has his podcast. Podcast is huge. I'd like to get a bunch of them on the show. I know Yvonne will do it.
And quick 2-second update from your trip last week up to the Dude Grows.
I was
Because I know you said Banner was.
Truth be told, I was only there for like an hour. I dropped my daughter off in Longmont. She had an event, and I had to come back and pick her up, and it wound up being an hour each way.
Oh,
from me to where I was.
Jesus.
So I didn't have that time, but
No.
it was a class event.
No, I saw some video. It looked really good. It was,
Class event.
I was a bit nervous in the morning for everybody. I was like, God damn it.
Well, you said you thought it was going to be a torrential rain.
Well, it was where I was. Where I was, it was raining so hard. I was like, I hope it's not like
Yeah,
this.
that's
And
what I heard
but then
too.
I saw a video and it looked really cool. I was like, I think Grambo posted something, and it was like blue. I could, because it was inside the tent, so I could only see outside a little bit. But I saw blue skies, and I was like, well, there you go. That's all you need to see. If there's some blue skies.
Right.
I want to say that their
Organization.
the way they had it set up,
Yeah.
okay, worked quite well. Everything was just a number. They had lots of jars, and they wanted
Tokens.
everyone to come up and try them all, and you can sample them, you can smell them. They wanted to, pack a bowl or roll a joint, whatever it was, but
Just pick 5 as your top 5.
Oh, is that how it worked? You had to give the token to get one? I didn't really go through
Basically,
it.
he didn't do what he didn't know. No,
They gave me a bunch of tokens.
Yeah, the tokens is what you use as you're judging things.
But you can sample them all.
Oh yeah, you sample whatever you want, but you got to pick those top 5, and then so if you're like, right, too generous right out of the gate, and this is great, and gave him a thing, then you didn't do. You got to really the idea was to smoke everything. Pick your top 5, drop them in the thing. They were saying next year that it's going to just go 3 because 5 was almost too much. What's going on?
I did a
wavy
sniff test.
wave. Is it a wavy wave? Okay.
I did a sniff test on. I tried to smell. I didn't want. It was tough. There was a lot of entries.
I bet.
But it smelled like most of them were like all the same dad. They had this predominant terp amongst them. There were some unique ones, and some guy was standing next to me, and he said that out loud. And I'm like, you know what? You're right. That's the way it is. I'm like, what do you think of this one? And he goes, I don't want to say anything because then you're just going to talk about me on Friday, and I didn't know who.
Oh, now we're talking about him.
So whoever you were, I'm talking about you.
We're talking about you.
What's
your name, brother? What's your name?
No, he was quite knowledgeable. He was really putting the time in on every single one. Cool. It was a great event. I spent a little time with Banner.
I listened to the show, so I kind of got a vibe of it. I saw a little video, and it looked like it was a good success. Because June is a tough fucking month to do anything. Because all of our birthdays are in June, and it's one of the most unpredictable weather months in Colorado. It's such we had a blizzard. What?
It's been raining for 3 weeks.
It can happen.
But they had a lot of people there. I would say 400 or 500.
Yeah, they said 300-400. They weren't sure, but yeah, definitely cool.
I got to see Duke. That was great.
Duke in the house.
He's doing well. We smoked some of his herb.
There you go.
Saw JJ. Yeah, it was I had fun for the limited time.
He laughed. He cried.
Better than cats.
It was better than cats, exactly. You know it. You know it. All right, well, thank you guys. Also want to...
next week, Adam's birthday show. If you're in Denver, come on down to the studio.
Next week is his birthday.
Party.
And then Saturday is Bar Turptown.
Oh, yeah.
It's a big sandwich, and it's also the MAPS, I can't remember again, multidisciplinary... Something.
We'll be.
It's the worst name ever for an event, except for MAPS is easy to remember. But multidisciplinary.
Well, we're probably we have passes for the event, but Patreon on I think it's like the 23rd, that Friday. We have to do from MAPS if at all, because there's an event that we actually have to be at. There are people there we don't want to not.
Oh no, I saw that. The one that we got the
one that Kyle sent. Yeah, that one we're
going.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully it's on our pass.
So what we should do is since we're going to such a geek fest, we should have a pair of those Ray-Ban glasses with them. We should invest in those. So we have the Ray-Ban fucking secret glasses. We can cruise around and film everything and not have to be all whoop-a-doo.
Oh, I thought you were going to say we should do Molly and walk around.
Oh, that's obvious.
Yeah.
I know all about that.
If Odie will be there.
I wouldn't say that. I would just do that. So anyway, all right, guys.
We'll see you next week.
Yeah.
Peace out. Much, guys.
See you on Patreon. Shout out to CC over there holding it down. Shout out to Mr. PDX being amazing with his own little island over here.
Interesting.
Island of electronics. And I'll see you guys next week. Or Patreon in 10 minutes.
Zooted.
Peace.
Later.
Where's Telly?
Practically every one of the top 40 records being played on every radio station in the United States is a communication to the children to take a trip, to cop out, to groove. The psychedelic jackets on the record album.
This is a special question. We don't want you to smoke genetically modified ganja. We want you to smoke the real thing. We want you to smoke the natural herb.
Sweet.
Some call it marijuana.
Sweet.
Some call it sensimilla.
Sweet.
Some call it lamb's bread.
The tea.
And some people call it...